While Aoife said her kids loved the half-day sea safari with Enniscrone boat tours learning about the birds and wildlife. Plan your best vacation ever at discoverireland.ie and experience the feeling of a holiday all in one day.
Thanks for the crack this week. The time is 9 o'clock and I'll hand you over to Gregory Hughes.
Another one in the bag, Lee. Another week in the bag.
Good. There was
man.
a bit
Well
of crack
done.
there, bit of crack.
Anything for the weekend?
No. Just
the usual stuff. Ticking along, tickety-boo.
Bit of shopping, a bit of hedge cutting, bit of cutting grass. And
you're going to eventually have to get an end of that hedge cutting.
No, I'm going to cut my dad's.
Again?
Yeah.
You only did that 2 weeks ago.
No, he's not there, you see, so I have to.
Okay, good man. Well, you are a good man.
Well,
take care, Lee. Have a great weekend, will you? It's the 9 till noon show. Our Friday panel going to be joining us very, very shortly, so stay tuned for that and so much more besides. But first, let's get a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. A post-mortem examination is expected to be carried out today on the body of a man in his 80s found dead in a house on the Culmo Road in Derry on Wednesday. Police are continuing to question a man in his 50s. It's been confirmed dozens of children requiring spinal surgeries will be offered an opportunity to get their treatment overseas by the Department of Health. It's understood a number of outsourcing agreements with international hospitals are being finalised. Families who elect to travel will have their accommodation and flights organised and paid for by the department. With more, here's Cliona O'Dwyer.
The health minister flew to the United States in the past week to meet directly with clinicians and inspect hospitals. It's believed he met with clinicians from Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital in New York. The hospital is affiliated with the medical school at Columbia University, which is regarded as one of the most prestigious in the world. He also visited a second hospital in the US. An agreement has also been brokered with Great Ormond Street Hospital in London. The agreements come after what has been described as extensive engagement over many months. It's understood Minister Donnelly decided to progress the outsourcing initiatives in order to deal with a backlog that escalated during COVID. There has been a significant increase in referrals onto the waiting list, with a 42% increase last year compared to pre-COVID.
The Taoiseach will travel to Donegal today to attend the McGill Summer School in Glenties. The annual event, presented in association with University of Notre Dame, brings together experts across several fields to discuss the issues of the day on a national and international level. This year's theme is On the Brink. It's been revealed in an article published by The Ditch that former Taoiseach Leo Varadkar was given political advice by the Attorney-General Rossa Fanning following the resignation of Deputy Joe McHugh from the Fine Gael Parliamentary Party when he voted against the government on the controversial Enhanced Defective Concrete Block scheme. The outlet reports that in a letter, Mr Varadkar was warned a Mica candidate could win a seat in Donegal in the next general election, given how politically sensitive the issue is in the county. Mr Fanning wrote the letter to the then Taoiseach after a private meeting with Deputy McHugh in February of last year. And Stormont's Agriculture and Environment Minister says he's not surprised to see the return of blue-green algae on Lough Neagh. Last summer saw the blooms develop all over the loch. They've resurfaced again this year. The executive has now signed off on an action plan to tackle it. Minister Andrew Muir says he needs to move quickly to improve water quality.
Sadly, I'm not surprised in terms of the reappearance of blue-green algae in Lough Neagh and other water bodies here in Northern Ireland. It isn't something we should be getting used to seeing. Frankly, I'm ashamed to see the state of our environment here in Northern Ireland.
And weather forecast, cloud breaking up this morning, leaving some brighter sunny spells. However, later cloud will increase with rain developing on the west coast. That'll begin to move eastwards as the afternoon goes on in top temperatures of 17 to 21 degrees Celsius, warmest in the east with freshening southerly winds. Rain will continue into tonight and tomorrow, turning heavy at times. Lowest overnight temperatures 12 to 14. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 10 o'clock. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The feeling you've the best seat in the house.
Well, the president doesn't get better than these.
The feeling those lads must be born with hurls in their hands.
Glued to them, sure.
The feeling there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
Come on, guys.
The feeling you're not out of the woods yet.
Oh.
And then...
Pretend it's a goal. The feeling it couldn't get any louder. And then it just does.
The feeling that nothing feels like hurling. Feel good, choose community. Central, proud sponsors of the Hurling Championship.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show, with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It's Friday the 19th of July. It is 4 minutes past 9. You're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show. We're back in the confines of our studio here at the Mountaintop in Letterkenny after a wonderful day in beautiful Annagry yesterday. And again, thank you so much to the lovely welcome that we received and the hospitality we received over there at Annagry. It was a wonderful day, but as I say, back in studio and it's back to business as usual. We have our Friday panel joining us a little later on. We have That's Entertainment and so much more in between. So let's say hello to our guests. We'll say good morning first to Leonard Watson, owner of Watson's Menswear. Letterkenny, good morning to you. How are you getting on, Leonard?
Not too bad, Greg. Good morning, panel.
And also we have Councillor Troy Gallagher of the Labour Party all the way over in Islington. Good morning to you, Troy. Thank you for your time.
Morning, Greg. Morning, panel. Morning, viewers.
Great to have you with us. And Paddy Rooney, PRO of Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital. How are you getting on, Paddy?
I'm getting on very well, thank you. Good morning,
Good to
everybody.
have you with us. Okay, quite a bit to get through. Listen, just looking at the front pages, this is where we probably need to start. A fire broke out last evening at the former Crown Paints warehouse in Coolock in Dublin, which is being prepared to house international protection applicants. A number of videos were posted on social media showing flames coming from the building, with protesters outside cheering. The site has been the scene, of course, of violence and unrest and protest over plans to house international protection applicants in the former warehouse. Elsewhere this week, tents sheltering 15 asylum seekers were attacked in City Quay in Dublin. Barricades were also pulled down by locals. The camp, which was attacked, was set up at 8 p.m. in an evening on the quay, was attacked almost 3 hours later. And meanwhile, a man is due in court in connection to threats to kill against Mayor Lou McDonald and Drew Harris. Troy, how concerned should we be about the direction this country is going? And I suppose some of the scenes that we're seeing were replicated in Leeds as well, and we're seeing it in other places. And you're listening to some of the Donald Trump speech last night and the tone and the rhetoric. It's not really, I mean, we can talk about Coolock and we will, but this is it's a global issue, and it's amazing. And I always find it amazing how we think it's something that's only happening here or in one part, but it is being replicated everywhere you go.
Yeah, I agree. It's really concerning. Well, it's more than concerning. It's something that needs to have urgent action on. Within Ireland itself, it's about 6 years since a number of the these sort of incidents started in Hotel Moville. I think we need to be able to have an answer to respond to not just why this happened, and they have an issue, open conversation about immigration, and understand and have people involved and engaged in that conversation about immigration to detoxify and de-escalate, and also to move away the void from the people who are of the far right who are using these incidents to be able to cause criminal havoc, but also to engage with people who feel that that somehow they're being left out, that they're not, they're being left behind, and they're not being able to have a voice in this. This in France, this in America, I think it's going to get, unless we do something right now, it's going to get a lot worse. And I think, but not just government, but communities have a role to play in this too.
But we've seen it before our eyes. How people feel more confident in expressing their opposition to it. The level of violence, the scenes of balaclavas, rock throwing, petrol bomb throwing, even. People feel empowered to do that now. You know what I mean? We saw the fella making threats there. He's before the courts now to Mayor Lou McDonald and Drew Harris. You wouldn't have seen that a few years ago. People feel as if it's okay now, that this is where we've gotten to in this country. But that being said, people feel that decisions are being made in rich parts of Dublin to put these centres in poorer working class areas with little or no consultation. The government were warned this would happen, and yet here we are. So it doesn't surprise me where we've gotten to.
No, that's right. And it calls for the greater need to have that consultation. That's when people are feeling left out, because the vacuum that's created from the lack of consultation, from the lack of engagement, from the lack of being able to have an open conversation without toxic, and people to be able to have their voice from being in community centres or through engagement, to say, let's have a proper, meaningful consultations where people are involved in designing the solution as well, rather than being told this is happening to you and we expect you to fall.
The only thing is you see, and I think this is why they kind of did away with the consultation. is that will you ever get a community to accept 200 or 300 male refugees? Will there ever be a local agreement? In other words, if they do engage, like perhaps you're suggesting, the model that you're talking of, well, then it's not going to be in my backyard anywhere in the country.
No, but if you use my own ward in Bunhill, there is a hotel called the Barbican Thistle Hotel that has got all male immigrants in it. 10 minutes across the road, at the far side in the city of London, they've got a hotel with female and children. And, so I get this on a daily basis where people are saying, oh, these migrants are in the hotel, they get 3 square meters a day, they've got an iPhone, and they've got shoes. And yet we're struggling with poverty and to support the family and get children. I have an extra housing. I have spent a lot of time going around speaking to people, tenants associations, community groups, to outline what the facts are. And the facts are that in Britain, the immigrants get a card of eight sterling a week, of which they can pay. They do get donations of free clothes that are given, and they do get the meals, but they're in a hold up in a room. Not all those facts. The reason I point that out is not all those facts are getting across. And until both councillors and community leaders actually spell out what the reality is about
it's not a bed of roses, really. But it's just again, I find it intriguing but not surprising that you're just to remind listeners, you're speaking to us from Islington in London. This is not Ireland you're talking about, so the exact same conversations and concerns are happening. Paddy, what's your view on all of this?
Well, one of the things I suppose that I was struck with about what happened when the whole issue blew up in Coolock in the first place was the coverage that RT News and Virgin Media and even the broadsheet newspapers were giving it, vis-a-vis the coverage that on social media that people that were on the ground were talking about, and the two of them were two very different things. This is a powder keg now about to go one way very badly if it's not managed with properly. Because there was a huge emphasis, for instance, on RT on the night on public order and security. Even the fact that we had David McCulloch, when he read the RT News on Tuesday, he had a retired assistant chief, Garda assistant chief inspector on the radio or on the TV, and he was talking about public order and how to manage it. And then we had Brendan O'Connor of the GRA highly critical of the Garda Commissioner because he didn't deploy the public order unit quick enough. And that was fair enough. But there was a huge emphasis that this was a public order issue. The Gardaí can't solve this. This is a political issue. This is a social issue. Because on the ground, when either local media or other media were interviewing people on the ground, they were having a totally different take on it. They were talking about the consultation that was supposed to have taken place, but it was done with a predetermined outcome, which means it was more or less worthless. The second thing is the charge being made against the Department of Social Integration was that they were actually picking the people in Coolock who they were going to talk to rather than the other way around, which means the whole thing was completely meaningless. And the case being put forward was there was one of the people that attended the protest. And by the way, now their face wasn't masked and they weren't throwing rocks or anything like that, but they were talking about middle class areas like Dundrum and Killiney and Howth and Rathgar and Rathmines and Terenure and go on and on and on. And no migrants has been placed in their area. How come that it's all socially deprived working class areas that are having to take a disproportionate amount? And they also made the fact that in a lot of the areas in Dublin that are deprived, there's a lot of derelict buildings in them. And people have been crying out for something to do with those buildings for a long period of time. And hey presto, the buildings are being renovated now, all right, but to take in new people. And the other thing that they were disaffected as well about is the fact that there was no political reps from any of the political parties on the ground that night, which was very poor. And there was a sense of alienation by the people. And on top of this, then they had further aggravation by the fact that recreational rioters and troublemakers were being bussed into the area to take advantage of it and actually give the give the people in Coolock a very bad name, because Coolock is a well-established community in the northeast of Dublin. It's been there for a long, long time. And it is not the byword for trouble and strife in this country, but it's actually got the reputation of it now. Troy lives in London. I did for a while as well. He's probably not old enough to remember, but I do. Vicious riots in England in the 1980s in places like Brixton and Toxteth. And they were made up of people as well. Very same thing about the fact that they were disaffected. They seemed to be on the outside. The voice wasn't being heard. It was the time when Margaret Thatcher was in her pomp in Britain. There were some people doing very, very well. They had been completely left out. And we need to be very, very careful, Greg, in this country about how we deal with this, because we're going to divide ourselves into the haves and the haves not, and that's not going to be pretty.
So the takeaway from that is what, Paddy? I mean, what do we need to be going forward? Because we're doing the same thing over and over again, and we were having these conversations as it relates to the accommodation that was earmarked at that time for Moville. The people that were in the hall at that time were talking about, you know, the pressure on schools, the GP, the hospital. There was no talk of race or ethnicity or person's background. It was genuine concerns as why here we don't have the resources to double our population and so on and so forth, right? So that's going back an awful long time ago. Then some Egypt decided to exploit that and set the hotel, or attempt to set the hotel on fire. That was not representative of the concerns of the locals. So now we have to sort of say, well, what do we do moving forward then? Because,
well, Greg, if sorry to cut across you, if that is the genuine reason for that, because if we're waiting for enough hotels and schools and hospitals and GPs, we're never going to take anybody in this country. I mean, there's also a parallel.
Just one in relation to that, Patrick, but I do have to go back to the point that you mentioned about where these people are going into. Because if it was right across the board in the more affluent areas and the poorer areas, then I get where you're coming from. Our system will never be up to scratch and blah blah blah. We can't probably address that, but we can. There is a sense that there's an unfairness to this. It is not in the leafy suburbs that this is happening, where people maybe have private health insurance and don't have to worry about the hospital.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The point I was going to make, there's a parallel demonstration taking place in a place called Dundrum in Tipperary. It's a small village. There's only one hotel in it, and I think there's people that are seeking international protection are going there. There was people picketing outside. One woman who was interviewed on the camera for RT, she had a sign saying, "Please keep our golf course and our hotel open." Now, for God's sake, if she's putting the availability of a golf course above the well-being of people who are fleeing, I suppose, persecution or whatever they're fleeing from, I mean, it's a desperate state of affairs. I mean, if people are putting forward genuine reasons, what would happen with, say, for instance, if the GPs and the schools and everything else were provided? I don't think people would accept them either. Because let's be frank about this. People 2.5 years ago started to come into this country in very large numbers from Ukraine, but there wasn't a whimper about that. And I suspect the reason being is because predominantly they were white, they were Christian, and many of them spoke English. But once the skin gets darker, once you move away from the Christian faith, and once English isn't their first language, then it becomes
okay. I want to bring Leonard into that, but that's you're brushing over there to some extent the fact that it's pretty much accepted that these are people. Many of them are destroying passports on the plane or getting rid of them. That we don't know necessarily their background or their motives. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't come down to skin colour. I mean, we knew it's Ukrainian people, right, that are fleeing a war, coming over here, with their driver's license, the passports and all that type of stuff. I don't think I really don't think it's fair just to talk about skin colour here, because there is a great deal of fear and uncertainty what the background of some of these people are, what their motives might be, what, if any, threat they might present. That has not been talked about or clarified. And then you've got other groups that are saying, well, these guys, I mean, listen to Donald Trump. He's saying that these people are coming out of asylum centres, using phraseology like prisons, mental hospitals. And that's the person who's going to be leading the free world in about 6 months. Okay, so I don't think it's about the skin colour. It's about the lack of education and information for the local communities. I'm sorry I just don't think it comes down to race solely, Paddy, with respect.
No, but it is a feature. It mightn't be. I spent the first 21 years of my life in this country, and I would say if I met 20 people of colour in that 21 years, and that would be the height of it, and those 20 people that I met were all junior doctors in the mental health service in Donegal. But when I went to live in London then, and Troy is there, the profile of the population was completely different. It was fine, there was no different. We're actually catching up now in this country with the eclectic mix of populations and the destinations of people and all that, and we're having trouble accepting that. That's all that it is. I mean, if you go to any big city or whatever throughout Europe, the profile of the population that you see walking up and down the street is quite different.
Okay, but these are thousands and thousands of people, right, who are predominantly male, who are just coming here. It's not like there's any invites or there's any jobs. Or there's a family structure or whatever. I think it's perfectly understandable that people will go, well, what is the... Because there is no explanation. There is zero explanation. And it's... People obviously... If you live in a village of 700 people and 200 people, many without English, all men, and they're all put in the one building... I really genuinely don't think skin colour comes into it. I think if that were 200 Polish or French or Italian... That it also would be an issue.
Sure. I'll tell you what, Greg. For the first time in the history of the state, apparently, I read this in the Irish Times during the week, political parties are going to have a feature in their manifestos for an upcoming general election in this country that we will have in the next 6 or 7 months. And for the first time in the history, they're going to have a manifesto, a feature in it about immigration and how to deal with it. That's inward migration into the country. We are either going to have to accept this or we're going to have to reject it, one or the other. I suspect it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I told you before on your programme, Greg, and I haven't changed my mind, that Ireland is now a destination of choice for many, many people that are coming from North Africa, Eastern Europe, the Middle East and Afghanistan. And just because we're surrounded by water on the four sides doesn't mean to say we're going to be able to keep them out. We're not, and they're coming, and we better accept that.
Yeah, well, as I say, in terms of language and rhetoric, that's what Donald Trump described as an invasion last night in the early hours of last night. He says this is an invasion. Leonard Watson.
Greg, I'm kind of agreeing with both Patrick and Troy. Patrick's right. These people are coming anyway, and we have to deal with it, and we have to deal with it in the right way. But there is two strands to this. Again, the lack of information, and Patrick's right, there's certain areas of Dublin that these people are presenting. They are troubled areas, or not troubled areas, but they're deprived areas. And I was listening to a thing in News Talk last day. I was in Dublin, and it just showed the difference. One woman was on, she was chatting about, what about her doctor services? What about the schools? And that was perfectly reasonable. And she says, we need to get information about how, are we still going to be at a doctor's appointment, kids in the school? And then he went to another lady, and she says, she says, I've seen on the internet, these people have no paperwork. These people are all criminals. And I thought it was a great thing he said to her. She says, I don't like letting my daughter out in the street at night anymore. And he turned around, he says, just look over there. And there was 10 men, he counted with balaclavas on. He says, so you feel safe with your daughter running around with these guys here? He says, you cannot judge people. Everybody coming in this country is not a criminal. Mm-hmm. We have as many criminals in this country as coming in. And his point was too, he says, we had a soldier, he says, in the last couple of weeks who was convicted of beating. He was a white soldier. He says that had been a black person. He says there have been riots in the streets. He says, but as his point was, the far right are now directing the narrative online. There's nobody kind of arguing with what those people are afraid. People like Mary Lou McDonald are getting death threats online from this far right element, and they are a small element. But as I say, the two strands have to work together. These people are coming. We have to deal with it. We have to. Do you know what? We should be welcoming them to. I was chatting to a local company the last day, Greg, where they were struggling to get staff. They interviewed 20 Ukrainians, and they took on 15 of them, highly skilled people. And only 4 getting them on, they would be losing contracts. There has to be a middle line. There has to be a middle line. People, we need immigrants. This country is going to fall flat in its face if we don't have immigrants.
It's an absence of conversation, though. I'm going to put a question to you a little bit later on about the funding of RTE. The licence fee is going to stay and all that. Are the likes of RTE and News Talk, I don't consume them so much as others might, Are they hosting proper programs whereby people are allowed to express their views and their concerns without being labelled far right or racist, so that we're actually having this conversation out front and in the open? We try and do that to some extent on this program, but we don't have that national platform. Instead of, going and reporting on what's there and all this, that and the other, like, there's a role surely with public service broadcasting, if they're doing the job correctly, have a weekly program on it where people are allowed to come in, not on the streets or screaming into a mobile phone or whatever, sit in a studio, outline their concerns, have a panel of politicians that listen to what they're saying, rather than us presuming what is people's motivation or what are their concerns. So instead it's done in portrait mode on mobile phones, shaking all over the place, and we're reporting on Coolock as if everyone down there is just completely lost the run of themselves. Like, that's, to me, what public service broadcasting should be. It should have a role in allowing us to have a proper national conversation on where this country is going into the future, and where people who don't want it to change as much as it is changing are able to sit there and have a conversation without being labelled as something. And maybe at some point we might come up with an agreement or some sort of way of moving forward.
But Greg, that's what I'm saying. I thought it was very balanced, that news talk where he had a lady, and in fairness to her, she was saying she had no problem with immigrants that day, but she just needed to know that the services were going to be there. Then, what was the plan for these men?
Was she standing on the side of the street?
But still, Greg, you know what I mean? Still was balanced. They just didn't go for the far right thing all the time. Like,
No, I know. I'm talking about something else. Maybe Gay Byrne might have done it back in the day. I don't know if you know where I'm coming from.
Yes, I know what you're saying about bringing these people into your studio,
but get 4 or 5 of these fellas in from one of these centres. Don't cherry pick them, but get them in and let people hear their voices, hear their stories.
Yeah.
And then maybe they can make a decision. Actually, I really don't want that. We don't hear it. It's all guesswork, Troy.
Yeah, just to come in on that, I think you've got a really good point there. Almost like a vox pop, equally introducing some of the people that are living in those centres, so people know the backstory, the reality. We did that to a certain extent in my ward in Bunhill, and when people, for those that could speak English, was fine, but those needed translator was provided. We're able to tell the backstory about why they're here, and not only do you hear the harrowing stories, but you also hear the understanding. Like, people are over here because the majority of the people that are coming into England are in desperate need, and that this image of them somehow that they're here and they're, excuse my phrase, that they're sponging and taking advantage by choice is incorrect. And when you hear the harrowing stories about what the family went through, etc., you realise actually it's a way of getting to know the people in the community. Now, my big beef throughout all the conversations was that the migrants in Islington, they're not allowed to work, and we've got 2 top qualified doctors in there that want to even volunteer in the hospitals. Said no, you can't. You can't even get involved in voluntary work. They're not allowed to, in case any of the Home Office will say, well, that gives you a right to work here. You've built up a pattern. And equally, if you met someone, so it's extremely strict, which is suffocating for them. But the communities don't know that until we had those engagement sessions and getting to know you through local community groups and through local charities. That helped break down some of the side of it, and people actually said, okay. I think we need to do a bit more of that there as well. But there is a role for councils here as well, and that is about getting out that message, as you rightly say.
But what we seem to be doing now is we seem to be finding a group of individuals in a local area who are the welcoming party. Right? And that does not address anybody's concerns. It just makes them feel... Paddy, also, too, just a brief one before we go to the break. A lot of people were going like, oh my God, the CSO released today that the population could be 7 million here by 2057, I believe it was, 30 years odd from now. We can't have that. We can't do this and all that kind of stuff. What about our culture and our heritage and our language and all that? Again, we need to be having the conversation about if at the current rate, we're just about having more babies now than people are dying in this country. We've got an aging population. We potentially could have a shrinking workforce, a lower tax take, and no one really to look after the likes of me and Troy or whoever, or Leonard or you, Paddy, when we get older, right? That conversation is not being had about the practical realities of this country. We're not having kids. We're dying. And the only way we can survive, and many other countries are the same, is probably with bringing people into the country. Why is that conversation not being had or articulated, or what have you?
Yeah, see, there you go. It's a bit like there's certain things in this country that you can't talk about. Like, for instance, none of the political parties want to talk about the affordability of old age pensions.
Yeah.
They don't want to touch that, even though that egg is going to crack sometime as well, that there has to be a certain level of the population who are working, who are support the people in retirement. But anyway, nobody can touch that either because it's too controversial. I mean, we are in land size, we're twice as big as Holland, but they have 3 times of our population. And if you look at certain tasks and jobs in Ireland, particularly in the unskilled areas, whether they're in the public service or the private service, a lot of those jobs are now being done by people that are coming into the country. But make no mistake about it, we do need them because we're not able to generate enough people ourselves here. There will come a time, I probably won't live to see it, but there will come a time where somebody with a Ukrainian surname will lift the Sam Maguire Cup for County Donegal. There will be a time when somebody of recent foreign heritage becomes a Taoiseach in this country. That's going to happen. It's happened in Britain. We had the last Prime Minister, for instance, he was second generation Indian. We had the Foreign Secretary before James Cleverly, and before that, Suella Braverman. All of those were people from outside Britain originally, and that's going to happen here too. But you're perfectly right. We do need those people because we're not going to be able to support ourselves.
It's an absolute fact, because there is just no way, unless we just pitter out and die poor, sad and miserable, we simply don't have the new people being born here to sustain the ageing population. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for that so far. Okay, your view is very important, by the way. 086 60 25,000. You can comment on our socials as well, of course. You're hearing from Paddy Rooney, PRO of Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, Leonard Watson, the owner of Watson's Menswear Letterkenny, of course, heavily involved in Letterkenny Chamber, and also Councillor Troy Gallagher, Labour Party rep, who's talking to us from Islington.
With Hegarty's Home Interiors in Buncrana. Discover a wide selection of stylish furniture and decor to create your perfect space. Our expert team offers personalised advice to match your style and budget. Visit us on Main Street, Buncrana. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. or visit hegartyshomeinteriors.ie. Hegarty's Home Interiors, making homes beautiful since 1946.
Irish summers can be, well, disappointing. Luckily, the Hyundai 242 Open Weekend is here to brighten everything up. Happening this weekend. Be among the first to see the spectacular all-new Santa Fe. Test drive Ireland's favourite, the new Tucson. And enjoy a limited double offer on our award-winning Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6. This weekend only.
Why not pop in this Saturday or Sunday to Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny.
On Business Matters this week, I'll be speaking to Paddy Malloy of the pet-friendly Brewstuff Coffee Shop in Letterkenny, and also Stephen Perry of the Local Enterprise Office about an updated energy efficiency grant. So join me, Chris Ashmore, for Business Matters on Sunday after the 6 o'clock news.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office team to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
Shock as straw scheme dropped by Minister. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Massive disruption to straw market expected as harvest kicks into gear. We analyse what's driving down beef carcass weights. Farmers win half of appeals against department decisions. Are lamb prices finally steadying? Vets up in arms over vaccine rule changes. Exclusive interview with European Commissioner on cap budget, nitrates and nature restoration. And all you need to know ahead of next week's Suckler and Sheep Open Day on Tullamore Farm.
All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
34 minutes.
Adventures this summer?
Okay, we'll be back after this short break.
Teamed up with Fáilte Ireland to help you experience the best staycation ever. And you could have a chance to win a €100 one-for-all voucher each day. So tune in all next week on the Jive Time Show with David James for your chance to win. For inspiration on how to plan your best staycation ever and experience the feeling of a holiday all in one day, see discoverireland.ie.
Is that the new Opel?
Yes, of course.
Does it really look that good?
Yes, of course.
Is it fun to drive?
Yes, of course.
Is it packed with smart tech?
Yes, of course.
Can I test drive it right now at Heron Auto Opel?
Yes, of course.
The new Opel Corsa, now available. See heronopel.ie for details.
Thank you for attending this meditation session for badgers who forgot to check for gas pipes before digging, without knowing how disruptive it could be, putting others at risk and doing it unknowingly for all their working life. And it could have been avoided had they just checked in the first place. Let's begin.
Always check for gas pipelines before you break ground. Visit gasnetworks.ie/dig for more information.
Irwin Expert Electrical, your trusted destination for all things home appliances, electrical and entertainment in the Northwest. With over 50 years of leading the way, we pride ourselves on offering a diverse range of products under one roof. From top brands like LG, Samsung, Cooker, Bosch, Apple and more, take advantage of our free layaway service where you can store your new items until you're ready for them. Perfect for renovations and new build projects. Visit Irwin Expert Electrical today in Letterkenny or Buncrana.
The one you've waited for, the Villa Rose and Jackson's Double Wedding Showcase takes place this Saturday, July 20th from 1 to 4 p.m. Come along and view 2 award-winning and newly refurbished wedding venues and meet our wedding teams at Villa Rose and Jackson's Ballybuffet. The wait is over. The McElhenney Summer Sale has just gone live. Your favourite women's wear brands, Naya, Betty Barclay, Jerry Weber, Wee, Maasai and Monari are all up to 50% off. Grab your favourite designer brands for a fraction of the price. Shop your size today and grab a bargain at McElhenney's Ballybuffet or online at mcelhenneys.com.
Caller says both sides are right to agree. It is a combination of racism and a lack of information. There are lots of organisations like the Donegal Intercultural Platform that are getting the word out there and sharing people's stories, but they're underfunded. But they also will be perceived as an NGO, as an arm of the state trying to convince you of a certain narrative. I'm not saying that is their remit, but I do see people that are involved that are associated with it, and some of the reactions, some of the online rhetoric. It's not necessarily with a view to changing people's minds, it's to label. Morning, Greg. The question on people's minds is, why is it all men, no women or children? So far, we've around 4,000 young men into Ireland, not one woman or child. And again, Paddy, and we'll move on from this, but that's a very important question as well. Is it a case that it's men that primarily are at risk in some of these countries? Are they just abandoning their women and children behind them? What about them? Or is it a case that they're coming over here to set up and then bring their families over with them? I'm not saying any of that's right or wrong, but I'm saying, like, there is no answer to that.
No, but there are people doing this legally and they're doing it illegally. I mean, there is I don't know what the percentage of it is now, but the ratio of people who were born overseas that are now working in the health service, even in the health service in Donegal, is beginning to increase all the time. And a lot of the people, because they're coming from very far away, when they come in here, they get a work permit and they get established, they bring their family with them. Isn't that the natural thing to do? And then there are people then that are coming in here then illegally, and they're doing the very same thing. You know, Ireland is a very temperate place now. I mean, we have a nice climate. It's a relatively well-to-do country. We're complaining about public services, but we have relatively good public services in comparison to what a lot of countries have around the country. As I say, we have a nice climate. We don't have too much extremes. The country is relatively safe. Why wouldn't people want to come here, for instance? And when they do come here and they come established, I mean, the Irish, as far as I remember, they done that. The older son went, and when he got established, he took his younger brother.
But is that what's happening then?
The younger sister.
Yeah, is that what you believe is happening then?
I would have
listen, I think also to the public, I don't think, and don't mean this facetious or whatever, but in Coolock, I don't think they were moving in many junior doctors and consultants and, pediatricians and stuff. I mean, I think the public can separate those that are coming here and working in the hospitals, and then the large groups of males where they don't really know what they're from or what qualifications have they, and people are saying, well, where are their mums and sisters and partners or boyfriends, for that matter, or whatever it might be, and their children. Do you know what I mean? There's no story, there's no backstory. Why are they all?
No, but I would suspect that a lot of the guys that are coming, the backstory mightn't be palatable to people either. I mean, they're fleeing things like enforced enrollment in gangs and illegal armies and stuff, and also enforced conscription into armies in various countries as well. And I suppose if you set up some kind of a town hall meeting and people come in and why you here, Paddy? Well, I'm here because I don't want to be conscripted into the army into Nigeria. It mightn't go down very well. But there's a variety of reasons, I would say, why men are here.
Okay.
Plus the fact that they're probably more mobile within the individual family unit, and that they will be, many of them, I have no doubt whatsoever.
Right. I just want to
bring the family with them.
Bring Troy in on this, because I think Britain's ahead of us in relation to this, and there is a big conversation, or there was a big conversation, as to whether professional people should be allowed to take their families to work to live with them. Troy, doctors and whatever and other professionals, and quite a resistance for them to be able to bring their families to join them. So, as I say, Britain's somewhat ahead of us in relation to that, but that's professional people contributing to, in inverted commas.
Yeah, and extremely strict on the rules and guidelines around that as well. But Britain has the view that for those families that are allowed to come along with husband, father, etc., they need to be separated, because they don't want any child that may have been, if they were together, would have been born in Britain and have a right to British citizenship. So there's hence the reason they segregate people off and really strict rules around that. I think the answer is all three. Paddy is right on a number of issues. I think the solution that we need to now move forward is, the solution is that for people to be aware of what the background and some of the stories that are, without going into specific targeted stories that could leave people exposed. And I think that there's a value contribution that we all need to be able to make towards that, to share that information, have that understanding of the background story without that sensitivities and the levels of danger. Yeah.
Sorry. And also, Leonard, and Leonard as well, and as I say, last one on this, like people in Letterkenny, and they say it privately, I'm not sure they're saying it publicly, that they've noticed a significant change in the demographics in Letterkenny, and they wonder about, the Letterkenny of old, is it lost and gone forever again? Is that conversation had? Are those people spoken to, or have their feelings... their concerns discussed? Do you know what I mean? Again, all of this stuff is happening off air and through text. There seems to be no genuine public discourse in relation to any of this.
Yeah, but you know what, Greg? I know you say about Letterkenny of old. Letterkenny has changed over the last 30 years anyway. The amount of people who... me and Troy was at school together. Troy's now living in London. Everywhere changes, but what I do see, Greg, I do see people coming in. I see it now because I coach one of the local football teams. I see the young girls and boys out there playing. And it's all about integrating these people the right way, make them feel part of the community, make them want to feel part of the community. I keep going back to, Greg, go down to Letterkenny Street on a Sunday morning, any Sunday morning, and you'll see up to 30 people of colour out picking up litter and out. And that's people who want to integrate into our community. They're getting involved in local charities and that. But we have to learn from the lessons of what happened in the UK. Well, there's places in the UK now, there's no-go areas, because if this wasn't done right, these people come in and they were, they're chastised and all that. So they did the natural thing. They all went into one area, and then this doesn't work. So.
But with the inward flow, though, Leonard, with the inward flow and the processing and all that kind of stuff, it is very hard to get to the integration that you're talking of. That's why they're establishing these, these centres with 3 or 4 100 men in them, because I know what you're talking about, but that's a process that has to be gone through and takes time.
But Greg, I'm just going to say another thing too. Like for years, the undocumented in America, the Irish undocumented, like and this was always it's not like a badge of honor for Ireland that all these undocumented Irish. And when you look at there recently, there was a guy brought back who murdered that Garda. So people can say about criminals coming into this country. We've sent criminals all over the world too. Like,
yeah, I know what it's but I
saying,
get what you're saying. But
it's not black and white either.
Yeah, but
like,
many of the undocumented in America, were working, still are at the moment now, 40 or 50,000 of them working, them paying tax. Some of them own bloody companies, for crying out loud. I think people feel that's a false equivalence. But I that's your view, right? But I just have to make sure that people listening to sort of feel that their voice is heard. But I understand exactly where you're coming from. Right, we're going to have to move on. We could do the full hour on that, but I just want to talk about another couple of things. This week we saw another photo shoot involving politicians Simon Harris and Keir Starmer downing pints of Guinness. It seems to be the go-to option when we want to express our Irishness. Barack Obama pulling a pint, other people, Ed Sheeran, all of them. Thomas and Michael Martin then had to defend a visit to a Diageo brewery this week in Kenya following criticism from Alcohol Action Ireland. Alcohol Action Ireland condemned the Taoiseach's visit in a post on X yesterday evening, claiming that politicians allow themselves to be used in the promotion of alcohol, and that probably could relate to Keir and Simon as well. Is it an area we need to look at, Paddy? It does seem to be the default option, either a Hurley or a pint of Guinness, and that's really much how you sum us up.
Well, my three kids are always getting on to me about that. I don't understand the woke, and I always use that improperly in conversations and arguments and so on and so forth. When Ronald Reagan came to this country way back in the 80s and subsequently Bill Clinton and all that, and there was the traditional pint of Guinness, and I was sort of squirming at that at the time, and I was thinking, oh, Jesus, this is plastic paddy all over again. This is all we're worse for or whatever. But as I got older and I sort of accept most things now or whatever, and I began, I've lightened up. So what? What was more important for me in that photo shoot was actually the dynamics and the chemistry between Simon Harris and Keir Starmer, without one shadow of a doubt. Wouldn't it have been nice to see Leo Varadkar and Rishi Sunak or Boris Johnson before that leaning on a bar counter and having a pint of Guinness? Because I know you said in your opening remarks there about downing pints of Guinness. I'm sure they had about a half of the pint or whatever that they took. Ireland overseas.
Yeah, but but Paddy, you just in relation to that one, that it's a photo shoot, right? They probably can't stand the stuff, but
absolutely, and that's more important to me. Is that I used to work in the mental health service in this country all those years ago, and I know what the effects of alcohol abuse have on people and families and industry and healthcare and all of this kind of stuff. But come on, lighten up a little bit. It's the relationship with the two men was far more important for me than anything else.
Well, do you know what, Greg, as a non-drinker, and I'm just looking at Troy now, I'm sure Troy held an odd pint of Guinness for a photograph over in London. Do you know what? I'm with Paddy. Do you know what? Greg, do you know what? It's something that's Irish. It's something, as I said, I was more happy to see the two men actually having a proper conversation. It didn't look stiff. Like, as you say, when you seen Leo Varadkar and Boris Johnson or Rishi Sunak, it looked very staged, where these two guys seemed to, he brought over a Donegal jersey to him, because Starmer, he had his honeymoon in Donegal. So there is a connection there now. And you know what? There had to be a reset on it, but I just listen to Greg. It doesn't bother me. Like, anything that brings tourists into the country, who cares? It's just, we can get hung up on a lot of these things now. But
I know. But there's an old episode of Family Guy, and they come over and the landing at the airport in Dublin or whatever, and it's just empty beer bottles and cans right across the runway, and you can hear the wheels running through them. It is kind of a view, and it feels like if every time you went to Italy, you were just handed a pizza. Do you know what I mean? I mean, could we not?
But as every American run around with a gun on their hip, and shooting, killing people. With these images, at least our images, maybe a slightly better image of some countries at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm with Paddy and Leonard on this too. I think I think Guinness is a major tourist attraction. It contributed massive towards the Irish economy, and it's a symbol. It's a symbol equally along with the harp and the shamrock, easily recognisable. And if they were due for the photo optics, anything else wouldn't have worked. But equally more important is the content of what was spoken about. Is very important, and about having that relationships a week within coming to office. And I was just going to say, Greg, I was absolutely delighted that obviously Simon's office listened to my interview with you.
That's right,
last
indeed,
week when they
yeah.
got the tips to know what to bring.
I'll tell you one
bring
thing.
across and what to say.
That's done nothing to get rid of the rumours about you and Fine Gael, Troy.
You heard them rumours too, Greg, yeah?
The one thing about Troy, actually, he's quite open. All right, listen, thanks very much. Back with more after this quick break.
Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. This Sunday 21st is Mike Denver and his band. Dancing 9 till 11, admission €15 on the door. Coming Sunday 20th July, it's Michael English and his band. But this Sunday, don't miss Mike Denver at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
On the farm, there's always something different to do, and a quad bike can be your best friend. But if you're not properly protected and trained, it can be your worst enemy. Too many quad bike incidents on farms have ended in tragedy. It's compulsory for quad bike users to wear helmets and undergo appropriate training. Find out more at hsa.ie/farm safety. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Clonmany Agriculture Show. Monster Draw. €100,000 in prizes. First prize a Valtra tractor or Skoda Kodiaq car. Second prize a Skoda Fabia car or €15,000. Plus 8 other cash prizes. Tickets now available online at clonmanyshow.com or any committee member.
House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide robes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
My home. My new home. It's out there. Maybe it's tucked away in a quiet cul-de-sac near a school, or sitting snugly between the 3rd and 5th floor of an apartment building overlooking the sea. Maybe it's still on the architect's plans and they're just about to break ground. But my home is out there. And myhome.ie make finding it easier. So whether you're a first-time buyer or you're moving, search myhome.ie today. Thousands of homes, one address.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. Make your sterling go further with our new cash sales exchange rate at €1.20 for every £1 spent in store. No matter the weather, visit us in Ballybuffet for all your fashion, beauty, gifting and homeware needs this summer.
Okay, so this morning we'll see cloud break up to give bright or sunny spells. Later, cloud will increase and rain will develop on the west coast in the afternoon and begin to move eastwards. Temperatures 17 to 21 degrees. I suppose in the absence of an actual summer, we have to sort of go back and think of what summer means to us. Have you a favourite summer memory? I'll come back to you, Troy, because you were confirmed to join us a little bit later, and maybe you haven't had an opportunity to think on it. But Paddy, I'm intrigued for you to reflect on your perfect summer or what your favourite summer memory is.
Well, the age that I am, I suppose, when I remember back, I have this notion.
Can I just say one thing,
summers
Paddy?
were always very sunny.
You're not half as old as you think you are. Everything is about your age. You are not. Yeah. You are not old. Okay, get that out of your head.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair.
You're in your prime now. Go on.
But I had this notion in my head that the summers was always very warm. My father was a farmer and my mother was a school teacher. So I always remember we lived about a mile away from school and there was no school transport at the time. And I always remember I have these notions about walking to school in lovely summer days. And it mightn't have been as nice at the time, by the way. And also working on a farm during the summer when there wasn't the same level of machinery to assist with the work than there is now. Looking back on it with very fond memories, but at the time it probably wasn't that fond at all, if the case may be, you know. But there's lots and lots of things, I suppose, that one can think of, but they would be the main things.
Yeah, what about you,
Christmas
Leonard?
as well, when Santa Claus came and stuff was always very, very nice. Like, you know,
in the summer.
I don't think Christmas was ever the same when Santa Claus stopped coming to me.
No, never. Leonard, what's your favourite summer memory, or what's your ideal summer for you?
Well, do you know what? I suppose I better say, me and Troy's actually was rare, not a stone throw from each other, and we went to school together. But you know what? The summer seemed to be hotter back then, Greg, when you were younger. I remember going out in the morning, we have a field beside us, and we're Garton Avenue, and we played football all day, and you seem to be out all the time.
3 years ago and 2 years ago, we were in the midst of absolute baking late 20s temperatures here, by the way. 2 years ago and 3 years ago. But I take your point. I do take your point that it did seem to be. Though I have great memories of spending an entire summer fishing, and it was perfect because it was always raining and there was floods in the rivers, and so I suppose you can pick it out. But what would your best summer memory be, Leonard? Other than throwing stones at Troy, which you've already admitted. You tested the range. You said I was within a stone's throw. You must have known that because you tried.
I was some throw away a stone. But you know what, Greg? You know what? There's probably lots of memories. Like even I came out of work in the orchard, and maybe the Euros or the World Cup was on.
Yeah,
and
brilliant.
Them summers were great. You're working in a bar and you're having the crack with it, and even working in the Mount Errigal during rally times. That as Patrick says, sometimes you look back and think the work was hard, but it was great crack.
The crack was good. Yeah, Troy, what about you?
Yeah, similar to Leonard. Growing up in the 80s, things were. Money was tight and times were hard, so we'd go away for the day down to Ards, which is my favourite place in Donegal, and spend time down there. Then come, as Leonard said, come up in the evening and be out running around, playing football, rounders, going to Rogers Burn. Always been back in time for, I don't know if you remember, V in 1983 and 84.
And my guy on a Saturday, Troy.
The
A-team.
I
love V.
One of the one things.
Do you ever remember when she ate the head off the white mouse or rat? It was like,
that's right.
What a brilliant concept of a show that was. Go on ahead, sorry, Troy.
I must say that you guys had a very privileged youth when you were playing all day and fishing all day and go to Ards all the time. That wasn't what my youth was about.
Well, I didn't want to. Hey, but come here, Paddy. I didn't want to old man it, but it wasn't actually a proper rod. To be honest with you, But anyway, listen.
Have you ever seen the football we were playing with too, Patrick?
Greg, could I just also say one of the things that Leonard will remember this, apart from the festival, being on festival committees, but also out selling sunflowers for Donegal Hospice when Donegal Hospice was above Doherty's Butchers. Isabel Doherty was in the bookshop then. So I was out selling sunflowers when it was trying to raise funds for to build the hospice, and that was great crack. And of course, linking in with a festival and all day raising £1,000 selling sunflowers was a great memory. You've seen the real community.
Lovely stuff. Troy, it's been an absolute treat having you on the show. Thank you so much for accepting the invite, and we'll chat to you soon. Take care of yourself.
Bye all.
Bye. Leonard, see you soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye. Do you have to wish happy birthday to anyone or anything like that, or is all good? No?
I know. I think I'm okay.
Right.
Actually, sorry, Barbara Gallagher, good man, Greg. Wish Barbara a happy 50th today. Jeez, Greg, you got me in a hole there.
You are a first-class agent. See you later.
That's why you bring Patrick on. He's the wise one.
Take care. We'll chat to you later. Thanks very much. All right. By the way, Paddy, take care of yourself. Always a pleasure.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Right.
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Thanks for your time.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, we'll be back with more after the news and obituary notices.
On Business Matters this week, I'll be speaking to Paddy Malloy of the pet-friendly Brostuff Coffee Shop in Letterkenny, and also Stephen Perry of the local enterprise office about an updated energy efficiency grant. So join me, Chris Ashmore, for Business Matters on Sunday after the 6 o'clock news.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office team to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
House Pride Furnishing's Summer Sale Weekend event has arrived. This Saturday, Sunday and Monday, join us in store as we launch our mega summer sale. Champagne and nibbles on arrival. Spin to win gift vouchers and freebies. Exclusive discounts on sofas, beds and dining sets. It's all happening this weekend at House Pride Furniture, Abercorn Square, Staban. Don't miss it. Online at housepridefurnishings.com.
Love the women's wear brand Joseph Ribkoff? Nearly all items are now half price at McElhenny's. Shop the summer sale while stocks last with up to 50% off online at mcelhennys.com today. Make your savings go further on sterling cash purchases with a €1.20 rate at McElhenny's Ballybuffet.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A post-mortem exam is expected to be carried out today on the body of a man in his 80s found dead in Derry. The discovery was made on Wednesday evening at a house in the Coolmore Road. Police are continuing to question a man in his 40s. Ireland's COVID inquiry plans are said to be published before the end of the Dáil summer recess. The Taoiseach has confirmed there are details yet to be finalised, such as what form the inquiry will take. It's Micheál Martin's belief there will be some sections held in public with others in private. He says any inquiry should prepare Ireland for a similar situation should it arise in the future.
And it's not so much how we did as well, that's important. A lot of people suffered, but also having a broad look at it from a societal point of view. The economy, the economic interventions, the public health, the structure we used, and can we do better the next time if another pandemic hit us or some other type of global emergency hit the country.
Families in parts of East Donegal are being left without water for days at a time. It's due to ongoing pressure issues in parts of Glenfin, including Comeen, Stregally, Balnaman and Drim. Councillor Martin Scanlon told a recent meeting of the Lifford-Stranraer Municipal District that the issue has been ongoing now for 4 years. He's calling on Uisce Éireann to come up with a plan to address the problems. He says there has been some remedial work done, but it's not enough.
There's a lot more that needs to be done. We're dealing with an infrastructure that's been in place since the 70s, and I would be calling on Irish Water to continue with the investment in the area. And having spoken with staff in Irish Water, I have to reject the comments that were made to me that because of our rural location and being at the end of a line as such, that it shouldn't be expected to have a continuous supply of water all the time. It's just another attack on rural Ireland, and I think it's not good enough. Down in Annagry and Fulcara, and it's just all over the place.
Dozens of children requiring spinal surgeries will be offered an opportunity to get their treatment overseas by the Department of Health. It's understood a number of outsourcing agreements have been reached and are being finalised with international hospitals. Families who elect to travel will have their accommodation and flights organised and paid for by the department. Cliona O'Dwyer has more.
The health minister flew to the United States in the past week to meet directly with clinicians and inspect hospitals. It's believed he met with clinicians from Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital in New York. The hospital is affiliated with the medical school at Columbia University, which is regarded as one of the most prestigious in the world. He also visited a second hospital in the US. An agreement has also been brokered with Great Ormond Street Hospital in London. The agreements come after what has been described as extensive engagement over many months. It's understood Minister Donnelly decided to progress the outsourcing initiatives in order to deal with a backlog that escalated during COVID. There has been a significant increase in referrals onto the waiting list, with a 42% increase last year compared to pre-COVID.
Gardaí are continuing their investigation into a suspected arson attack at the former Crown Paints factory in Coolock in Dublin. The property, which is earmarked to house asylum seekers, was at the centre of violent protests earlier this week. Tara Duggan has more.
Dublin Fire Brigade were called to the scene at the former paints factory in Coolock at around 9 o'clock last night. Black smoke was seen billowing from the building, which is currently under renovation, with plans to accommodate up to 500 international protection applicants. The fire was quickly brought under control and damage to the building was minimal. Gardaí have maintained a presence outside the factory overnight, with the scene set to be forensically examined today. The building was at the centre of violent clashes on Monday when bricks and missiles were hurled at Gardaí and pepper spray was deployed by the Garda Public Order Unit.
Stormont's Agriculture and Environment Minister says he's not surprised to see the return of blue-green algae in Lough Neagh. Last summer saw the blooms develop all over the loch and they've resurfaced again this year. The executive has signed off on an action plan to tackle it. Minister Andrew Muir says he needs to move quickly to improve water quality.
Sadly, I'm not surprised in terms of the reappearance of blue-green algae in Lough Neagh and other water bodies here in Northern Ireland. It isn't something we should be getting used to seeing. Frankly, I'm ashamed to see the state of our environment here in Northern Ireland.
This morning we'll see cloud break up, giving some brighter sunny spells as the day goes on. Later cloud will increase, however, and rain will develop in the west coast this afternoon. That'll begin to move eastwards across the region. Top temperatures today 17 to 21 degrees Celsius. Warmest the further east you go, with freshening southerly winds. The rain will continue tonight and into tomorrow. It'll turn heavy at times with a chance of some spot flooding on Saturday. Lowest overnight temperatures 12 to 14 degrees Celsius in light southwesterly or variable breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Friday morning, the 19th of July. The tragic death has taken place of PJ McGettigan, Fawns, Termon. Requiem Mass on Sunday at 12 noon in St Columba's Church, Termon, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. House strictly private pleas to family and friends at the request of the deceased. The tragic death has taken place of Una McGettigan, Glenera, Carrigart. Requiem Mass on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the Church of St John the Baptist, Carrigart, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Patsy Coyle, Ochnagadi, Glebe, Remelton, reposing at his home from 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock this evening and again tomorrow from 12 noon until 10 p.m. Funeral Mass on Sunday morning at 11 in St Mary's Church, Remelton, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Mary Alice Bradley, 8 Mulroney Terrace, Stranorlar. Her remains will repose at her late residence from 5 o'clock this evening. Funeral from there on Sunday morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in Drumbo Cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to Brindley Manor Nursing Home, care of any family member. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Mary Gallagher, née McNeilis, Cocheen, Derry Begg. Her remains will repose at Rorty's funeral today from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. with removal afterwards to her son Connie's home in Cocheen. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 in St Mary's Church, Derry Begg, with interment afterwards in Maharagallen Cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has occurred of Dan Logue, Downings, remains reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, going to the Church of St John the Baptist for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has occurred of Anne Quinn, née Bryce, Main Street, Ballina, Cavan and Carrick, Donegal. Requiem Mass this afternoon at 1 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Killybegs, with interment afterwards in Killybegs Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to St Vincent de Paul. And the death has occurred of Annabel Kelly, Foxhall, Glenswilly. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 in St Columba's Church, Glenswilly, with cremation to follow at Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio. Ireland, let's keep bringing it back. The changes we've made with Return are making a huge difference. to our environment, our communities, our future. Returning ensures we value resources, recycle more efficiently, and helps us work towards achieving our EU recycling targets. We're doing the right thing, and bringing it back is bringing out the best in all of us. Return today, and together we can make a better future for us all.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Thanks again to Leonard, Troy, and Paddy for their contribution over the course of the last hour. We appreciate all of your texts as well. I'll get through some of them now. Just a couple of things. Hi, Greg. Congrats to you and Highland Radio for putting your show on the road yesterday and highlighting the deservedly so Annagree community run charity shop. And Annagree itself, I'm sure it did wonders for a small community like Annagree and is very much appreciated. And listen, we're always open to suggestions, by the way. If you have, maybe you want us to come into your area, we have to be well treated though. Buns, coffee, stuff like that. It's not essential, but it helps. But all jokes aside, if you've got your small community doing great work and you want a light shone on it, well, we'll see. If we can get there, let us know. 086 60 25,000 or give us a call. Can't guarantee anything, but certainly look at all options. I didn't mention V. It was quite interesting that V came up. It was Diana. Of course it was Diana. The brunette that ate the rat. It was indeed. It's just one of those memories from TV that stands out. Right, on to more serious comments. WTF are you talking about? We need more migrants. Try making it worthwhile for 50,000 of our own to come home and offer the incentives they need to start families. You do not solve problems by importing them, especially those with no skill set. Have a bit of cop on. That comes in from Sinead in Glencar. And Sinead, listen, this is actually a conversation almost separate to the immigration-migration conversation. 50,000 people coming home to Ireland is not going to cut it. We can't make people have babies either. The reality is the birth rate in this country has slowed ground to a halt. I think it's like 1.3 per woman, and the death rate obviously is what it is. People are living longer. There is just a reality, Sinead. We cannot or will not, and it's a global problem as well. It's the same in America, China, Japan, elsewhere. From our own population, unless people start having more children, the economy cannot survive. It will face collapse. Japan have warned of that being within the next 10 to 20 years. I'm not saying what the solution is, by the way, but that is the reality. And bringing 50,000 people home and saying, please have kids, is not going to fix it either. But that's a global problem that many countries are having. Greg, what's this global outage all about? I don't know, to be honest with you. I know people are having some issues with Microsoft and stuff. We'll dig into that. Greg is the only one talking sense, and I say, why groups of men only are here and they're out of jail? Why are they not kept to fight wars in their own country? A lot of people ask that same question of a lot of the younger Ukrainian men. What are they doing here? They should be over there. Paddy Leo Varadkar's father is Indian. Greg, how does Highland always find a panel that agrees with the government's thinking re-immigration? Well, I'm not sure it's there's no planning to that. But I mean, like, what is the public's view on immigration and the government? We're just off the back of the local elections, and there was no massive rise of an anti-immigration vote. We're coming up to a general election now. The opinion polls, for what they are, tell us that the likelihood is that Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael and another will be back in government after the next election, unless Sinn Féin and others can do something unbelievable over the next couple of months. So maybe the majority of the public, when it comes to the ballot box, feel the same. I don't know. When the Irish went to other countries, they had to find their own accommodation and find work to pay for themselves. What happened now is very different. I moved to another country and found my own accommodation and work. The government are supporting these people with taxpayers' money. I mean, the bottom line is me. I did it. I never got anything in England. I went over to England to work, hence the mixed up accent that I have. I worked over in the bars there, didn't enjoy it, but I stuck it out. My mum and dad did the same thing, but they never received any payments. So that's why I don't think it's a great argument about the Irish versus what have you. We were able to go and have opportunities, don't get me wrong, but I don't think most of the public see it's the same thing. And I'm not sure it's a very good argument, because we all have sort of family experience or personal experience of that. The welcoming groups under direct provision contracts are paid by the host company. They have a vested interest and are usually responsible for throwing the racist card to silence community opposition. Ask Paddy how he would feel if a neighbour of his would turn a house into an iPass centre. Would he have issues with it if it was all males? I mean, that is the $1 million question. And that's the question, the ordinary people of Coolock. And listen, in relation to a lot of the violence down there's a lot of young people who perhaps are struggling to get work or what have you, and they've seen this public unrest as an opportunity to tear the place up a little bit. I don't really even think most of them probably have an understanding of why they're chucking rocks and petrol bombs at the Gardaí. You know what I mean? So I don't. It's probably somewhat over-amplified in terms of what the actual view of the people of Coolock are, but any community, I think, in this day and age, if you're going to have an iPass centre, and there's going to be 5 or 6 of them around the country, and there's no answers given to them, there's going to be a pushback on it. And that's just the way it is. And saying, we've spoken to the community when you've only spoken to those that agree with you is not consultation. And unless the government start getting it right, this is only going to just keep happening all over the place. Maybe in a few years, one of these young men will take your job on the 9 till noon show. Just saying, maybe. Maybe I'll be long gone. I feel a bigger concern for us is the fact that this population are also ageing, and what are we going to do with them, the Irish population? Our elderly services are the most underfunded. Another, what's going to be done about the accommodation in Letterkenny? My son and his girlfriend have to drive a 100-mile round trip every day to work because they can't get a flat. What's the point of having businesses come to Letterkenny if there's nowhere for the employees to live? And businesses will say that and childcare are two of the biggest issues in terms of recruitment. Pushing the racist accusation is a great way to stop people voicing their opinions. Our country will be destroyed and no good for anyone if we don't have controls fair and honest. Stop the sneaky underhand activity and calling genuine Irish people all kinds of name. And please explain far right and stop name calling, says a texter. Have any of these speakers looked at the statistics in crime in any countries taking in large amounts of immigrants? There is a large increase every time. I mean, I get where you're coming from, the type of crime that's there. But I mean, obviously, from an Ireland's perspective, our population has grown significantly and the crime levels have grown in proportion with the population growth. They haven't at this point, and you might say, well, wait till you see what's coming. Okay, that's fine. But at the moment, the population, the crime statistics aren't ahead of the population growth. Can any speaker justify the rape and murder of a 13-year-old girl by 3 foreign men, 1 male and 2 male? No reason, just their hatred? No. How could anyone explain that? How could anyone explain the awfulness that's going on? How can you explain anyone from any nationality having child abuse images on their computer? How can you explain any person of any nationality abusing children to whereby there's a record number of children contacting Childline and our mental health services are overwhelmed with children who are being mistreated regardless of where they're from? How could anyone justify any of that? We let it happen to some extent. A caller says RTE, they get to keep their television licence and now they're also getting funding from government. This is simply letting them have their cake and then eat it. They are being rewarded for doing a bad job. What's the point in electing a government if none of them will do anything about these issues? Well, it's a year on from the RTE scandal, and where we seem to be is that everything's the same in RTE, except those that didn't want to divulge, any external deals that they had left. All the usual faces are still really there to some extent. Ryan Tuberty's getting on like a house on fire. He's living his life and is happy out. And the licence fee is there. And instead of it being scrapped or changed, they're actually just going to... Revenue's not going to collect it, but they're going to toughen up... the gathering it in through on post. And then money from the Exchequer is going to go to help support that. But that's fine. But as I say, in terms of public service broadcasting, I talked a little earlier about what I believe it should be. Having the national conversation, speaking to all people of all different backgrounds, representing the views of the people in Coolock or in Donegal, like we try and do, because the 99% of people are considered and concerned, I think. And their voices aren't really heard. And this crap of interviewing someone on the side of the street and saying, that's that side covered. And then having footage of other people chucking stones and saying that side covered. That's not public service broadcasting, in my view. Regarding the alleged threat, well, it's not alleged, I saw it happened. Regarding the threat to kill Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou and Garda Commissioner Drew Harris, RTE News last evening reported that a suspect had been arrested and was being detained in custody. The suspect's photo was shown, and even though he was wearing a balaclava, he could possibly be identified. Paul Reynolds then went on to give details of the suspect's previous criminal history. Surely such reporting would prejudice any future criminal trial. I feel this guy's literally got a get out of jail card. I know where you're coming from, but I mean, I know this guy. He's quite prolific on social media. I recognised him as soon as he had that silly balaclava on. And often, I suppose, criminals' background is mentioned. I think you make a good point. I'm not sure what the ramifications are for a trial. But there you go. If you had a water tap running into a bucket and the bucket started to overflow, you turn off the tap. Simple solution. If the bucket can't hold any more, cut off the supply or get a bigger bucket. That could be a solution as well.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday, July 19th. Playing on a yellow sheet. Reference number is S5. It's week 29. Today's numbers are 81, 43, 21, 9, 13, 8, 63, 20, 35, and 2. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks, and personalised photo books, perfect to mark any occasion. There's also jigsaws, calendars, mugs, and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist Letterkenny.
McDade's Bathroom Plumbing and Tile Showroom in Buncrana is your one-stop solution for all your bathroom plumbing and tile needs. We offer a wide range of top-quality plumbing fixtures, tiles and accessories, all at the best possible price. Our experienced plumbing experts will help you choose the right products for your bathroom, renovation, new construction or remodelling project. Visit McDade's Bathroom Plumbing and Tiles in Buncrana and see why we are the best choice for all your bathroom and plumbing and tile needs.
Shock as straw scheme dropped by Minister. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Massive disruption to straw market expected as harvest kicks into gear. We analyse what's driving down beef carcass weights. Farmers win half of appeals against department decisions. Are lamb prices finally steadying? Vets up in arms over vaccine rule changes. Exclusive interview with European Commissioner on cap budget, nitrates and nature restoration. And all you need to know ahead of next week's Suckler and Sheep Open Day on Tullamore Farm.
All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
Kieran Brogan is the chair of the Regional Health Forum West, and at a recent meeting he asked, can we get an updated report on the rollout of the new CELTA area? Councillor Kieran Brogan is with us now. Good morning, Kieran. Thanks for your time as always.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. Right, I suppose you got a detailed response at the Regional Health Forum meeting, or from the Regional Health Forum meeting, and what was CELTA saying about the rollout of the new area?
Well, I suppose there are a lot of work just to do on that yet, Greg, with regards appointments and recruitment, and I suppose it's about us remaining focused on our own area, which is the Northwest, and I suppose that's my priority in this area, Greg, and in fairness, I think having taken over the role as chairperson now, that again puts plenty of emphasis on the whole of Northwest and indeed Letterkenny and Donegal, and that's what I'm there to do.
Do you see the reorganisation of the CELTA area as having positives for Letterkenny University Hospital? Because I note an awful lot of the questions that were put to the HSE from yourself and others on the board. A lot of it is, well, it's under review, we're looking at this, we're hoping to do this next year. Is there a sense that things might improve in Letterkenny and services that were lost or that are occasional might be returned or enhanced?
Yeah, well, I think to be honest, there's been a fair level of commitment, and I would have to say for all my colleagues who are representing Donegal now and have done so in the past, we all put on the Donegal jersey when we're travelling to Galway to the meetings, and we're all representing the same issues and concerns. The biggest area, the biggest challenge that we've had over the last number of years is actually filling the positions, the whole area of recruitment. And I think we have a job to do on how we maybe portray this area of the Northwest and Donegal. And I suppose talking about the great quality of life that we have to offer here in this area, I think that's important. And I think we've been successful in the past in filling a lot of positions, but I think we have more to do in this area going forward. And look, there's many services that are facing a lot of challenges, but I think we have a job to do is to keep the focus on. But to be fair to the management that we've met and we have had meetings with them over the course of the last number of years, they're fully committed to filling the positions that's there. The positions have been approved, and that's what we'll continue to do, because I suppose the more people that we can get filling positions in Letterkenny, that avoids the journey of people having to travel to Sligo or Galway or indeed Dublin.
A lot of the recruitment, it seems, in the response to you is in the office, so to speak, regional executive management team. They're looking for a regional clinical director, regional director of planning and performance, regional director for people, regional executive nurse midwife, regional director of population and public health, IHA managers, regional director of finance, e-health director, regional director of communications and public affairs, regional disability lead, office of the regional executive officer, integrated healthcare areas. It sounds an awful lot bureaucracy top heavy. Do you have any concerns in that regard, or are these people needed to work in the Northwest so we have a greater level of accountability and I suppose lobbying, or what might be required?
No, in fact, if it can make the decision making process simpler for us, then I'd be happy with it, because as I've seen it over the last number of years, too many decisions had to be signed off in Dublin or maybe further afield. And if we can have regional decisions back in place like we used to have in the old Northwestern Health Board days, that decisions could be taken on a more regional basis and decisions could be taken speedy as well, I think that's important. So whatever we can do to fast track the process that's there, that's important at a local level. But the biggest challenge for us in the whole area of recruitment is actually our healthcare consultants, the nurses, the doctors, and a lot of work has gone into that over the last while. And in fairness to the Irish government, they've committed over 46 million to the new University of Ulster and Magee, and that's offering a lot more opportunities for people to remain in the Northwest, and hopefully we can retain that talent then when they do the college in the Northwest. And I think there's a lot of efforts being made, even with the ATU and with the hospitals locally, working on overcoming the hurdles of filling positions here in Donegal, and I think there's a lot of opportunity here. And I suppose what we need to try and do is try and encourage and make the circumstances better for people who have decided over the last number of years to emigrate for whatever reason, that there is jobs and good jobs here available in the Northwest. And we've seen huge investment in this area over the last number of years. And the new hospital in Ballyshannon, we've seen the new primary care in Donegal Town, we've seen new primary care in Buncrana, we have the new 110-bed community nursing unit in Letterkenny. So there's going to be lots of opportunity for young people in health. We never were producing as many people through the medical colleges, and we need to try and encourage as many of them back here to work, because we need them. When we need them, maybe more than ever we needed them before.
Yeah, indeed. Kieran, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations, by the way, on your appointment as chair. I meant to say that at the beginning. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
very much, Greg. Thank you.
That's Councillor Kieran Brogan of Fianna Fáil. He's chair of the Regional Health Forum West now, and that was response just to as it relates to the the future provision of healthcare in this county. A couple of things I want to announce here. Let me see. Yeah, the R236 will be closed. That's between Rafo and Convoy from Monday 22nd of July and Friday the 26th of July between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. There will be diversions in place. And I wanted to mention Business Matters as well. Yeah. Business Matters this week. Chris Ashmore was speaking with the owners of a new pet-friendly coffee shop in Letterkenny. It's called Brosef, which has been set up by Paddy and James Malloy from Glentees. He'll also be talking with Stephen Perry of the Local Enterprise Office about an enhanced energy efficient grant of up to 10 grand for businesses. That's Business Matters this Sunday after the 6 o'clock news. We're also asking you, by the way, and we can continue this through That's Entertainment, because it's not just about telly and whatever, it's about getting out and having fun and doing whatever you want to do. What are your favourite summer memories? You know, when you think of your childhood, what invokes that happy memory for you? Share that with us as well. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. Your favourite summer memories, or what are you doing this summer that makes you happy? I think health comes down to it a lot, but when we're younger, we don't think of health, and we find pleasure often, many of us don't, and we find pleasure in other ways. So what was your memories? Humid, wet summers fishing on Merva River or out in Mullinasol Bay, Lahey River, all of that stuff. That's fantastic memories for me. Also, you know, there was the freedom. You headed away in the morning and maybe come back for lunch, but Mom used to put a sheet out over that. You could see our house; it was somewhat elevated, and she used to put a sheet out on the balcony, and that meant it was time to come home or for dinner. Do you know what I mean? There was no obviously there was no phone calls, so there was no "you're all right" or "where are you," and you know, then you're not worried as much. We weren't scared. You know what I mean? A lot of young people now are scared or fearful, or they think something's going to happen to them, and thankfully we do live in a, for the most part, safe country. But we were lucky. I think I feel lucky looking back. But what's your memories or your reflections on your youth in the summer and during your summer holidays? Warning from Australia: don't turn on your laptop if you can hold off, as there's a worldwide Microsoft outage and loads of computers going blue screen. Death screen might not be able to get them back again. All banks in Australia and other major business computers are affected. It might be a crash or a computer virus. They say it's global. All right, interesting. Why don't the government turn off the tap? We can't cope with the numbers. Is the EU paying the government to take in all these numbers? We had Leo Varadkar when he was Taoiseach telling the world Ireland is one of the richest countries in the world, yet our hospitals and other services are crumbling. Please read this. Of course I'll read it. It's fine. It's your point of view. The thing is too, though, you know, like there are other countries, America, Britain, who are actively, and Brexit and elections were fought over this to some extent, actively saying, like England is saying, no more refugees. You can't come in boats. You can't do this, that and the other. And yet there's a flood of refugees into Britain as well. So even if you say, and I think Paddy's referenced this a couple of times, and he's right in this regard, is that even if you say, right, we're pulling up the drawbridge, no more, it doesn't really work like that. It really actually genuinely doesn't work like that. But even on a global scale, a European-wide scale, Ursula von der Leyen, one of the promises she made was an extra, was it 30,000 EU border security people to try and control immigration. So it is a pan-Europe thing, but it's a global thing as well. The bottom line is for many reasons, be it war, money, climate, the world is shifting. People are on the move. And that just is the way it is. So what the future holds or how that's dealt with or managed or whether it is or not, it's going to be a conversation that's been had in many areas of the world for many years to come. Hi, Greg. Ordinary people are angry about the fact that their country is changing so rapidly. The government's new plantation policies, some people call it. I don't think that language is helpful, Ethan. I don't think it really works or lands. But anyway, the new plantation policy is damaging social cohesion. Do you feel that in your community? Do you believe the social fabric of your community has actually changed? There's an awful lot of people already here that have been here for a very long time. All right, okay. I'm going to have a quick chat with Mickey after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Usually a radio ad is recorded in a studio. I'm phoning this one in from a bungee jump. I couldn't bring my iPhone, so I'm calling from my Apple Watch because only Vodafone's one number keeps my Apple Watch connected without my iPhone nearby. So I've got a connection I can always rely on everywhere. Okay, here goes. Woohoo! Feel that freedom! Only with Vodafone one number!
Compatible powered on smartphone and smartwatch required. Eligibility, limitations and terms apply. See vodafone.ie/terms.
Is féidir le drogaí áine sa dul a bhaid mar tar bheala éagsúla. Ach cuireann siad ar fad isteachart agus tú ag tomaint. Is féidir le roinnt drogaí tú bhfuilliú. Rud a ágan bhfuil buíoláin go nginine tú botún.
Could an drogaí eile farragur tí bhír dom rush dúrtha.
Bhín tú ag tomaint rush go Má bhín tú ag tomáint faoi cheannach chu drogaí is féidir leis tusa do chuid passionéirí agus daoine eile ar a móthra chur míl. Ná tomáint faoi cheannach chu drogaí go brach, ónúidir as umhaváilteocht ar mhóthire. Tuair cuairt ar rsa.ie.
Atlantic Travel. Bonded, licensed, and trusted in Ireland. Expert advice on your world adventure. Search for sun, cities, or a last-minute escape to sandy shores. Get away this summer with tantalising offers, luxury resorts, and family favourites. Free kids' places still available. The offers won't last forever, but the memories will. Book now with a trusted travel agent. Atlantic Travel, Letterkenny.
Dunfanaghy Golf Club on the Wide Atlantic Way. Open week starts the 25th of July through to Sunday the 4th of August. 3-ball, better ball, open ladies and gents stroke in Stableford, 4-ball, better ball and team classic. Just some of the daily competitions you can enjoy. Hit the fairways, enjoy the crack and be part of this festival of golf. To book, call 07491 36335 or visit dunfanaghygolfclub.com.
Leisureland Redcastle, open every day all summer long. Perfect for family day trips. Offers excellent value for birthday party packages. For a memorable family experience this summer, visit Leisureland Redcastle. See leisurelandredcastle.ie for more details.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Floor at Letterkenny has to offer? Floor at have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Floor at today on 087 161 7008.
Good morning, Mickey.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad at all. What say you?
I was listening to some of the stuff that the calls there about Ireland is full and all that complete, absolute nonsense.
Right.
And it strikes me that there's a lot of it is either sexist or racist because they're saying we don't want a bunch of men there. Not all men are rapists.
Mm-hmm.
There are people may be surprised to hear that, but not all men are rapists. And the crack about we need to be able to be consulted. I have absolutely no right to say to my neighbour who's going to move into his house.
Mm-hmm.
None whatsoever.
So, with that in mind, Mickey, if you live beside I don't know, a former B&B or something, and there's 25 rooms, and a planning application went in to house IPAS applicants in there, maybe 4 to a room, you wouldn't pause for thought on that at all. You would say that's just fine. That's their property. They'll just be my new neighbours.
That's exactly what I would say, because let's face it, they might be 4 to a room, and that would be completely and absolutely not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better than sleeping on a tent by the side of the canal. It beats that. And this crack of there was a thing on the TV the last night about somewhere down the country, it might have been Offaly, I'm not 100% sure,
mm-hmm.
an hotel
that
there'd been 200 Ukrainians in, and they have moved out, and they wanted to use it now for asylum seekers. And everybody's out protesting. That is blatantly, obviously racist. It's completely and absolutely... 200 white Ukrainians, they were dead on. 200 possibly coloured people. Oh God, no, we can't have that.
Okay,
but wrong.
But let's just say, for the conversation's sake, Mickey, and this is why it's important to have conversations. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I presume if it's the same as the hotels up here, the majority of them would be a mixture of primarily women and children, regardless of their skin colour. Now, say for instance you had a community. And there were 250 men, and they were all sort of like 18 to 25, not black, but from, I don't know, from North France or from Poland or whatever. Do you not still think there would be a level of concern in the community? What are these men going to do? And let's just say also too, some of them were from Russia, some of them were from Ukraine, and some of them were from Belgium, okay? And there were 250, 300 white fellas moved in there. There's nothing for them to do in the area whatsoever. Do you not think people would still have concern and say, well, what's going on here? or are you convinced
No,
it's just down to the colour of the skin? Because I would
this-
say if
this
it were all white guys, people would have issues as well.
This is a red herring. We can't have 250 men because they would be rapists, but we can have 250 women. Come on, in the name of God, let's talk sense. Because this whole thing of we can't have men because they're dangerous in some way. And misogynistic is a word for a hatred of women, and I think it's misogynistic or something like that is for hatred of men.
Do you have
There's
any
something
concern?
wrong here.
Do you have any concern that these men coming from other countries, they might have a different, they might be of a different religion, a different culture. Some of them might have a different attitude towards women and women's role in society, or women's role in the. Would you have a concern in that regard?
With that.
Beg your pardon?
There is no. Well, you see, my concern in that regard is dead simple. We need to be saying to any man who comes here from a country that treats women badly, listen, sunshine, you're in Ireland now and you're not going to behave like that.
Yeah, but that's not happening.
And if you do, well, why not?
I don't know because we don't
exactly.
really know necessarily. Some of these people are coming, or many of them now are coming without any documentation. We don't know anything of their background or their views.
How do we know? Oh, wait a wee minute. How do we know it's not happening? And what kind of a God-scussed country are we living in? Coming here with any documentation, to get on an aeroplane, you must produce documentation.
Yes.
Right? Now, I'm listening to this complete, absolute nonsense. People are dumping them on the toilet on the plane and all that sort of stuff, which is very probably true. Now, it's dead simple. If you arrive in Ireland without documentation, you're put on the very next plane back out of it again.
But Mickey,
goodbye.
You see, much of what you're saying, some will agree with. But see, when it comes down to what you're talking about, maybe discussing people's attitudes, cultural attitudes, and if they don't align to what we've come to expect here, maybe they wouldn't be welcome. I think you sort of said that. And also, if you come here without documentation, you're bussed straight out of the place again. But that's not what the rules are. Anyone, regardless of their background or whatever.
The rules.
Okay, but that is what that's all of what a lot of people want, Mickey. They just want to be assured that the people...
No.
Yes, because if the local Gardaí could come to a community and say, by the way, we're moving 200 men into this area, it might take a while to get to know them, but we know their backgrounds. None of them have any criminal background. None of them are very hardline in their religious views. That information is not being given to communities, Mickey. And if it were...
Nor should it be.
Well,
it is absolutely... No, hold on a minute. Hold on now. If I have a criminal record, it is absolutely nobody else's business. How dare people suggest I need to know everything about you before you move into
Well,
the
that's
house
not
beside
strictly
me?
true, because in Northern Ireland, it's probably going to happen here. You can make contact with the Gardaí if you enter into a new relationship, and you can ask if there's any domestic violence convictions against them,
If you're
and you'll be told.
yeah,
You will be told in Northern
but
Ireland.
hold on. If you enter into a new relationship, yeah. If your next door neighbour and you have no relationship whatsoever with him, you have no right to know what his background is.
Okay, well, and just for devil's advocate, because we can't be a la carte in this, Mickey, then if someone is convicted of a sexual offence or abuse of children, you don't think that local communities should be given that information where there are children present?
Well, you see, when you're playing devil's advocate there,
yes,
and there has to be exceptions to every rule.
But you see, this is it now,
Anybody who abuses, the people who abuse children are, well, at best,
the lowest of the low, of course. But my point now is though, who is the arbitrator of that? Who says that we have to let people know if someone has been? But then, I mean, that we have to also then include the abuse or rape or murder of women. That would have to be in there as well, because that's also abhorrent.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No.
Right. Okay.
No, you see, you're into different people would have different mindsets and that. I happen to think that anybody who abuses a child is scum
We
of
all
the highest
agree,
order.
of course, Mickey, of course. Listen,
A rapist is a very unpleasant human being. At best, he, and it's usually a he, is an unpleasant human being at very best, and probably should be boycotted. But that's a society decision.
I get you. All right, Mickey, listen, thank you
know.
very much for that. Brian's with us as well. Brian, what's your view?
Just to pick up on something that Mickey said, I once got into conversation with a person in administration in McGilligan Prison, and she told me a very sad but interesting fact that the abusers in that prison, actually several of them, had requested to stay in prison after their sentence was over because they couldn't control themselves. They did not want to be let out into the open, into the public arena. I just mentioned that in passing. It's nothing to do with the subject exactly. Just a very interesting fact. I hope your listeners find it interesting and sad in some ways. In regard to immigration, I have some experience of it here now in Buncrana. The big question that I see only touched on lightly, it's touched on there today now in your program, is the ethnic differences between people are very, very important. I did first year social science at UCD. Another friend of mine, Kevin Doherty, deceased now, Father Kevin Doherty of Rathmullen, started on the same course. He pursued it. I didn't. I changed it to philosophy. But he told me something that I didn't, I've been mulling over the years. Ethnic differences are of gigantic importance, very quietly, but very really present in communities. Take the Balkans, the Yugoslavian conflict, absolutely going on from generation to generation. Another illustration is that he gave me was that the itinerants left Ireland at the same time as others did during the famine in the 1840s. Went to America. They are still in itinerant groupings in America.
I don't think members of the travelling community like to be called itinerants any longer, Brian.
Well,
but,
travelling community, it's not the name I'm talking about. It's the fact that ethnic differences persist through generations for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have the same challenge here. I see no difference between an immigrant coming into Ireland, in principle, no difference between an immigrant and a newborn baby. Except that the immigrant has to be enculturated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not being done. We're doing a worse than half-assed job at the moment.
But to which culture do you educate them on? I mean, we can ethnicity.
Into Irish culture.
Yes, but ethnicity.
Irish culture. They've got to have the language.
But, but we're a 32-county Ireland, and you can call it ethnicity or
but they
cultural.
All speak Ireland. They all speak English.
I understand that, but there are many people, say, for instance, on this island and in this county, that align themselves far more with British values, perhaps, than Irish values. Are you? Do you align their ethnic views to the Protestant community, the Catholic community, atheists? What is Irish culture that we're looking to align them to? We haven't figured it out internally yet.
I know you're being the devil's advocate. Look, what we're talking about in the first place here is the language. If they don't speak English, they can't participate very easily in the workforce, and we desperately need the help of new able-bodied people, men and women. I'm just back from Galway Hospital, and nearly all the nurses there are of Indian origin, and very good they are. But these people speak perfect English. Now, the people coming from Nigeria, they're lovely people, but they don't speak English. And then if you wish to go beyond the language problem, which is very straightforwardly addressed, does cost money. You've got to provide teachers, and that's being done in a half-assed way at the minute.
Also,
very
by
little.
the way, one of the biggest barriers to Ukrainian people entering the workforce or getting involved in the community is, and this is not me saying it, it's those that work with them, is the language barrier.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
It's a fact.
It's more so with the Africans, even African priests coming into Ireland and England and elsewhere. They are not being trained properly.
I spoke with a Nigerian priest based in Ironmore, Burton Port, 2 weeks ago, and his English was perfect.
Well, I know for a fact that that's not the case with many. If, for instance, in Nottingham, where I have some in-laws, they have stopped going to church because the priest cannot be understood. The congregation is mostly African now.
I think too, Brian, and I think this feeds into your point. And what we have seen in areas of Britain, for an example, my family would have originally emigrated to Handsworth in Birmingham. It's completely different now. It used to be predominantly Irish. Now it's predominantly different races and Leeds, and there are other areas or suburbs of London whereby there's not as much integration as there should be, and people sort of live their lives through culture and language as they might in their birth country. So are you saying that we have an early opportunity here to try and do integration better?
The first thing and the easiest thing is to get the language problem solved. That's purely a matter of organisation and a little bit of finance. Get the language and then they can participate in the workforce. But much more difficult is the wider ethnic difference. Now, for instance, the Sharia law. I mean, already they are very quietly talking, and not so quietly in some places, of having a caliphate in various parts of the UK and in France. And possibly even in this country, a caliphate where Sharia law operates. In other words, women have a very inferior place and men can have 4 wives and so on. This is something for which the guns would come out again. You can't have that. That's against natural law. It's not just against Catholic or Christian law. It's against natural law, and that overrides everything. It's wrong, full stop.
But Sharia law, though, is a very hardcore interpretation of Islam, though. I mean, every person who is Islamic would not subscribe to Sharia law, though. I mean, I think that sometimes needs to be clarified too.
Well, I'm out of my depth there. I don't know the Islamic faith very much. From information I've had from people who have studied it, it's 50% religion, 50% politics. It's not like other Christian faiths. It's much more political. I don't want to pontificate.
No, I should be clear. It's the Sharia law that we a lot of people talk of. It is part of the Muslim belief and system, but it's not representative of all of it. But anyway, listen, I take your point, Brian. I think
in Somalia, Sean, before you go, in Somalia, where there's strong Muslim government, ladies or girls are not even allowed to go to primary school. We have some of them in Buncrana, and they have suffered terribly. Some of them dreadfully, even operations of the dreadful nature that they go in for, genital mutilation and so on. This does operate where you have strong Muslim predominance. You don't want that in Ireland under any circumstances. Now, we have to deal with that. How would that
happen, though, whereby, if a certain amount of people of a certain belief system move into this country, it's like even by 2057, in the worst case scenario, indigenous, in inverted commas, Irish would be far greater in number than people coming to this country. Now, they're not all going to have that particular faith or that belief system. So, what is the threat to our culture? I mean, as I say, but even in the worst case scenario, by 2057, the majority of people here will still be indigenous Irish in inverted commas.
Well, never mind 2057. 6 months ago, it was counted. There had been 200 arson and other attacks on Catholic churches in France. Now, that was all Muslim, all of them Muslim. 200 attacks. Now, you know about Notre Dame being burnt, and another church recently set on fire. Cathedral again. They managed to get it out, thanks be to God. But these people, ethnic differences. This took me half a lifetime to appreciate what Kevin Doherty was saying. Ethnic differences are huge, and they're quietly under the surface until circumstances allow them to surface. We need to deal with those now and be the leader in the Western world instead of trailing behind everybody. We need to be intelligent, learn from everybody else and take the lead.
Okay, listen. I mean, we saw a lot of what you talk of in France was formed part of the most recent elections over there, and we can see the political swings that are happening in France at the moment. Okay, Brian, listen, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. Thanks to Mickey as well. Again, everyone has different opinions. We might not all agree with everything that everybody says, but unless we listen and air, but not over-amplify all different opinions as well, we're really not going to get anywhere whatsoever.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny Clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
I've been surfing all morning at FlemingLTD.com to find out about Fleming doors, Fleming steel and Fleming coatings and their full range of products. So come surfing with me at FlemingLTD.com. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Change is the only constant in business. So whether you're starting or growing your business, our dedicated business teams will always be here to support you every step of the way. Because the best businesses never stop beginning. Search Bank of Ireland Business. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Well, wait till you hear why thousands of families are going full Lidl.
Him has every fruit.
Every fruit. He has blueberries every morning. He loves them.
I would have a dream in an apple pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
A
that's
pool full of apples.
Yeah.
Go full Lidl today.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Halliford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Halliford.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Support local at McElhenny's. With 53 years experience in fashion, beauty and home, we're here for you. Plus, enjoy M-Card rewards when you shop in-store at McElhenny's Ballybuffet.
Okay, the northwest seeing bright or sunny spells at the moment, though cloud will increase and rain will develop from the west in the afternoon, spreading across the region. Temperatures today 17 to 21 degrees. The more further east you're listening to us today, the warmer it will feel. Best news is that Microsoft outage is not a cyber attack, but how glum are MacBook users at the moment going, maybe the Guinness pints were 0-0 Guinness, maybe they were. Greg, you and others say that people should be informed about refugees, non-nationals, well they are foreign nationals, coming to their area. Do you honestly think that would make any difference to the thugs and rioters who have a far-right agenda? But people are being labelled. People are being labelled in that way because just by simply expressing concerns. So if you're not having a conversation, and if anyone says anything that you don't like and you call them far right, we're just going around in a circle. Look at the events in Leeds last night. Majority of the rioters were from ethnic backgrounds. Wait and see what's coming. We'll look at Coolock, the majority of rioters, and look at the riots in Dublin. They were from a white background. What does that mean? Really, we have to get down to the bottom line as to how we all move forward in the best possible way. Wow, lots of you texting in. We're going to carry those over to Monday. Because we're going to take a break from all the seriousness that's out there today. We're going to be joined by Michael and Fanula shortly, and we're going to chill a little bit, talk a little bit more frivolously. We want you involved in that conversation as well, please. News on the way.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Thursday 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. with late night openings Fridays until 7. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725 822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Brian McCormick Sports Summer Sale now on. Official Donegal GAA Kids quarter zips 20% off. Women's Under Armour save 20%. Up to 50% off football boots from Adidas and Puma. Adidas Messi boots only $39.99. BMC Sports Summer Sale. The life of a Charlie's chip is never dull. Once they're selected, they're off to Charlie's, where they lose that jacket, have a nice wash, and get into shape. Before going out, there's always a few nerves, totally unnecessary, because, let's face it, they always go down well. Enjoy Charlie's chips to sit in or take away daily from 12 to 8 at Pierce Road, Letterkenny. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
Attention, Century Play is now open. We're open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week for endless fun with exciting new features. Visit us today for unforgettable memories in the largest playframe in the Northwest. We're also now taking kids' party bookings. Call us on 074 9121976 for more information.
Get ahead of back to school this year at Dunnes Stores. From prepping for their very first day to refreshing their uniform, now's the perfect time to shop schoolwear for the adventures ahead. Pick up a 3-pack of playproof polos from just €5 and knitted school jumpers from just €3.75. Stock up on essentials like Easy Care joggers from just €5 and sweatshirts from €3.75. Back to school at Dunnes Stores for little ones with big schedules. Shop in-store and online now. Terms and conditions apply.
Live at Lifford Old Courthouse, check out the great lineup of acts and entertainment. Book tickets now for Alton on August 17th. Other big acts coming this year include Tina Turner Tribute, Proud Mary, Absolute Eagles, Springsteen, The King, Dolly Parton and Shania Twain. Ticket and meal packages available at Lifford Old Courthouse. Book now at liffordoldcourthouse.com.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
OK, it's 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. A post-mortem examination is being carried out today on the body of a man in his 80s found dead in Derry earlier this week. The discovery was made in a house in the Coolmore Road area on Wednesday. Police have been questioning a man in his 50s about the situation. Ireland's COVID inquiry plans are to be published before the end of the Dáil's summer recess. The Dáil will discuss it as soon as it gets back. The Taoiseach confirmed overnight there are still details to be finalised, such as what form the inquiry will take. Micheál Martin says it's his belief there will be some sections held in public with others in private. New measures to acknowledge the lives of stillborn babies have been signed into law by the President. It means families who've suffered a stillbirth will be able to register the birth and death of their loved one online for the first time. Social Protection Minister Heather Humphreys says an optional register of stillbirths will also be available, and the change will be available retrospectively for those who've suffered stillbirths in the past. Families in parts of East Donegal are being left without water for days at a time, particularly in the vicinity of Glenfin. It's due to ongoing pressure issues in Comeen, Stregally, Balnaman and Drim. Councillor Martin Scanlon told a meeting of Lifford Stranorlar Municipal District recently that the issue has been ongoing now for 4 years. He's calling on Uisce Éireann to come up with a plan to address the problems. Dozens of children requiring spinal surgeries are to be offered an opportunity to get their treatment overseas by the Department of Health. It's understood a number of outsourcing agreements with international hospitals are being finalised. Families who elect to travel will have their accommodation and flights organised and paid for by the department. And a global cyber outage is being blamed on a software update that's gone wrong. The outage, which is linked to Microsoft Windows and cyber security firm CrowdStrike, is affecting airports, banks and newsrooms across multiple counties. Photos of handwritten boarding passes have been posted on social media as many airlines' check-in technology is down. Experts say the outage isn't linked to any form of cyber attack. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thank you very much indeed.
Go all
Aldi with summer barbecue sizzlers now only $2.99 each, including specially selected Black Angus reduced fat 6-ounce burgers was $3.79, now only $2.99. Plus, specially selected Black Angus Ultimate 6-ounce beef burgers, Butcher Selection quick cooked chicken fillets, and Butcher Selection pork belly strips worth $3.49 each, now only $2.99 each. All Board Bia quality assured. Go all Aldi while stocks last.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and it's the last hour of a long week, and it's an hour where we just talk about stuff that's just quite nice, not quite as serious as some of the other items that we discuss throughout the course of the rest of the week. And we do so in the company of Fionnuala Rabbit. Good morning, Fionnuala.
Good morning.
And Michael Eddy. Hi, Michael.
Good morning.
And we're continuing to ask you your favourite summer memories, what you remember about the summer when you were a younger person, or even not so young. It could have been this year or last year. What does summer mean to you, Michael Eddy?
My God, as a child, saving the hay.
Kind of boring if it were now.
Saving the hay. Farm. Grew up on a farm, Leitrim. Worked a horse. We had a work horse.
Lovely.
So the late 70s. It was lovely, fantastic. So yeah, strong memories of being out in the meadow, mum and dad, the horse, saving the hay, and in memory, you look back and it never ever seemed to be raining, but of course it was. But you look
that's
back,
what we were saying before 9, that it always seemed to be sunny and it didn't seem like hard work, and you don't remember going, Dad, no, I want to go and do this. I don't want to go.
I do remember missing an episode of Space 1999 one Friday because we had to go out and save the hay. So some of those things I do remember as well.
Fionnuala, what about you?
To be honest, one thing I always think about the summers is the freedom of it.
Yeah.
You used to just take off in the morning and you'd kind of come back when it was starting to get a bit dark.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And also, down home in Oranmore, we used to have, which is people mightn't realise when it comes to me, but we used to have a festival, and there was a big marquee that went up. And it was down the road from where our house is. And I remember we'd be lying in bed at night with all the windows open because, again, the weather was always nice. And listening to the likes of Brendan Shine and Philomena Begley and that kind of thing as they were down in the big marquee. And then we used to go and bring our bikes into it because they had a really good dance floor. Do you know the way it was all just that kind of like for dancing? So we would go in during the day and we'd have our bikes and our roller skates. And then the guy that owned it used to come and hunt us off it.
Yeah. Speaking of dance floors, back in the day, during the show bands and what have you, the dance floors used to be sprung. I know it's separate to the temporary one you've been put in now. You're probably talking of. I wonder, are there any sprung dance floors left in Ireland? I think they used to sit on tyres. I think you used to put the tyres underneath them, so there was a give in it.
The Great Southern Hotel in Galway, which is now called, I think, the Merrick. My sister got married there. And they had an amazing band for the Midlands, who sadly I can't think of the name of them, but they were awesome. The guy thought he was in U2, not a wedding band. And he had the whole crowd was on the dance floor. And it is a sprung dance floor because obviously it's that old type of hotel and they never took out the dance floor and changed it. So all around the dance floor was all the tables. And towards the end of the night, obviously they were full of old drinks, and all you had was all the clinking of the glasses going while everybody was just jumping up and down on the dance floor.
I know
it is amazing.
I know the premises below the Great Northern in Bundoran. It was most laterally Planet Earth. But I can't remember what its name was before that. But it had a sprung dance floor.
It probably was connected to the Great Southerns in some. It probably was connected to the same group.
I think there might have been one in Buncrana as well, or maybe they were more popular than I know. But I just wonder, are there many left? Is there a sprung dance floor left in Donegal? And why were they sprung?
Oh, because for the ballroom dancing and that kind of thing, wasn't it? That's my understanding. It gives you more of that kind of
oomph.
Yeah, okay. I think that's what it was. It was supposed to make it better and for even if you watch people jive on a
Michael's
sprung dance
sitting there going, I have
nothing to add to that.
It's not about Star Trek.
It's not about Star Trek.
All right, let's go to the cinema because this is a film that I'm not necessarily that I am actually looking forward to see, and I wonder, am I right in doing so? It's Twisters. Glenn Powell, Daisy Edgar Jones. Both of you have seen this.
Yes.
Right, okay. Is this a remake of Twister?
No. It's basically, in a very subtle way, we were chatting about this last night, it's a sequel because it has elements of the original, the device.
It's connected to it, though.
Well, if you pay attention, yeah.
It's not a shocker he hasn't seen the
I haven't seen the original, no, but I mean, it was explained to me afterwards that
I do.
it's that device it's just, there's a thread connecting the two.
I don't understand how. You must have actively tried to avoid watching the original.
Yeah, I just wasn't a cinema person. I'm just a TV person.
They put it on the telly as well.
I know, yeah, but I'm not.
That's what I tried to
Yeah,
tell.
this was.
Don't go down
but I
this
wouldn't
rabbit hole with
choose.
them.
Like this was the
Just
mid
gets-
'90s. I would choose to watch the X-Files on a Sunday night, or I would choose to watch Star Trek.
No, I think you would actively have to avoid,
look,
switch it over. You'd have to say, "Oh, there's Twister. I'm
can't-
switching over."
Before we finish this conversation, I will mention another movie that he hasn't seen.
Yeah, fair enough. But think about, to answer your question, when originally this was in development, it was Helen Hunt was coming back and Helen Hunt was going to write it, direct it, and that plan fell through. So it was rejigged somewhat. It was going to be about her daughter. So now it's just about a random woman who is called Kate, who is also an expert on these. Well, they don't call them twisters. They call them tornadoes. They don't say the word twister. I was waiting. When are they going to say the name of the
But
movie?
it's
When
called
are they-
Twisters.
Yeah, when are they going to say the name of the movie? But they don't do that.
Okay.
So we went to see it last night, and I think we'd both give it a thumbs up.
Well, I'll tell you what it looks like to me. It looks like and I'm only just watching the trailer.
Yep.
It looks like the original. In other words, the
Yep.
same sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
B, it's benefited from a huge advancement in special effects.
Absolutely, yeah. Visually, it's very impressive. I think
Is it an improvement on the original?
I would say.
I would say it is, yeah.
I would say that when the action is happening, the movie is very, very enjoyable. When it stops for the characters to interact, sometimes the characters are a bit slight and a bit annoying. Glenn Powell, though, he's got charisma to burn.
He seems to be the hottest property in Hollywood.
He's
at the
hot
moment,
property,
so-
yeah.
It's unbelievable. He's in everything.
Yeah,
Fall
but he
Guy,
deserves
wasn't
it.
Not Fall Guys.
Hitman.
Hitman.
He's
The Fall Guy.
No, he
No,
was in
he's
that
not
one
in
about the guy who was pretending to be a hitman. That one, you saw it.
He's in Hitman. He's in.
Oh, yes,
Anybody
yes,
But
sorry,
You.
Hitman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in Hitman. He's in Anybody But
Daisy
You.
Edgar
He's
Jones
He was in that
is
one with, that Anyone Knew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, which I liked as well. That was good. Sydney Sweeney was in that with him. This is a good
Yeah.
rom-com. Yeah, it was fun.
He's in that.
You saw that last week, and yeah. Daisy Edgar Jones is pretty okay in this. I haven't quite made my mind up on her yet, but she's not a bad. She's there, and she's. Sometimes when she's getting all teary-eyed and stuff, it feels a bit like I'm not with her emotionally. I don't necessarily.
a bit doe-eyed.
Yeah, a bit
Like
doe-eyed.
that kind
Yeah.
of big, she's in it for that sort of like big innocent look.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe people
Whereas in
want
this-
a little bit more depth than that nowadays.
Maybe,
Obviously,
yeah.
I have seen the original one because
course you
I.
have.
Everybody has apparently on the planet. I found out last night.
Is this
around
based in
11
2024, this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they still, to test the speed, that you still have to suck balls up into the tornado. I would have thought at this stage.
There's a different plan. Yeah, there's a
I would
plan.
have thought at this stage they'd have come up with something slightly more technologically advanced.
To be honest, that's the connection too. It kind of starts off with that sort of an
so
idea.
this is the machine from the right.
And you're like,
yeah.
okay, that's the,
That
and I
starts making
because
sense, yeah.
you're kind of like waiting for the connections, but
Yeah.
they're not as. And then obviously when Michael looked it up, we could see something went wrong. There was probably
Yeah.
supposed to have been a lot more connections.
It was a different idea
Clearly
originally. Yeah.
something went wrong with
Yeah.
it. But two things I'd say is the difference in this. I'd say when they made the original one, they probably, I would imagine a lot of the footage was actual real twisters because, health and safety being what it was back in the late 80s, early 90s, in comparison to now when, like Glenn Powell was even talking in an interview, they weren't allowed go even chasing a tornado as part of their research because it was just for the insurance and that kind of thing. So whereas now it's much better with the CGI. There's a lot more take. It's a slightly different genre type of thing. This, if you remember when the original Twisters came out, I was saying to Michael, it kind of fell into that kind of like disaster sort of movies that were coming out at that time, like Volcano, Dante's Peak. There was a load of different types.
Which I loved actually.
I know.
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
Didn't see it.
But it was.
I watched Dante's Peak. That's Pierce Brosnan.
Yes.
I watched that not that long ago. It's very
Nothing
watchable.
made me want
Holds
to
up, yeah?
get a truck more than that.
It watches. It's there was Cliffhanger as well. That's in the same sort of.
There was loads of them
I
around
saw
that
Cliffhanger. I did not like that movie. Yeah.
I know, typical out of all of them, you picked the worst one. The only one you've seen. But there was
Janine Turner was in that
there
from
was
Northern Exposure.
There was a
yeah.
load of them that kind of came out that
Yeah,
were
right,
like
yeah.
one disaster after. It was either an earthquake or it was there was another one then. Do you remember where the lava was in the drains? Was that Tia Leone that was in that one? The lava was coming up through in Los Angeles, coming up kind of through the mud tar pits and that kind of thing. But there was loads of them around that time that came out, and all of them were of a certain level of standard, different ones. But the previous one fell into that. This one has a bit more of a comedic edge to it. Like as in it's a bit more kind of character driven, that kind of thing.
It's quite light in a lot of places. I mean, it's
there's a lot
lightness
of kind
to
of
it.
lightness to it that you'd kind of say it's not quite.
Clint Powell's
edge of
character
your
is very,
seat.
very
The world's
humorous
gonna end.
for a lot of it.
I wonder, it would be nice if they sort of tried to make it in the 90s mould, though, then. Like all this wisecracking stuff.
Yeah, it's
really,
more in that sort of a feeling, which seems to be where they're
I think
making.
that's his thing. I think that's Glenn Powell's thing, isn't it?
I suppose, when you think about the few things he's been in. But
he's very similar in his movies.
Cheeky kind of, semi-geeky, handsome-y
yes.
kind of.
In his big roles, that is definitely what he seems to be playing. But not to take away from the fact that it is very enjoyable.
It is, yeah. David Cornsweet is in it as well. I know he's done a few things, but I was interested to see him. He's the new Superman, and he's one of the supporting guys in it, and I thought he was really good. I really enjoyed him. He was the guy in the van with her best friend, that guy, and he's the guy. He's the new Superman. I was watching him through the filter of Clark Kent.
I kind of given up on Joker, Batman, Superman, any of that stuff.
I think this is going to be a good movie.
Joker now with Colin Farrell?
No.
Oh, the trailers make me thinking I'm not a massive Colin Farrell fan.
Are you not?
Anything I've seen him in is quite
Colin
good.
Farrell now is Colin Farrell's very good.
In fairness, if I look at his films he's been in, they're great. Do you know what I mean?
He picks his movies very well.
He does. Even he was in a small role in a film with Anthony Hopkins, Solace, I think it was called. I just happened to watch it there during the week. It was silly, really. It was about it was a serial killer, so I thought, right, I'm watching that. But Anthony Hopkins is a sort of a
profiler.
Can see stuff. What
psychic.
do you call it? Psychic. You know what I mean? And it turns out that the other character is also a psychic, so he's using his psychic abilities. But the person that's committing the murders is a psychic also.
That sounds pretty okay.
It is actually quite good. And then they're on the poster together, but you don't see Colin Farrell until about 20 or 30 minutes. But even in that small role, he's very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
But he is a bit Marmite, maybe. I think you kind of like him
It's
more.
not that I dislike it.
I know
just
that,
you know the way you're just kind of like, I don't know.
It's not going to be the best thing about a movie for you, I don't think.
Yeah, he just not. I know, but I am curious to see about the Joker now because he's in the trailers. He's unrecognizable, except that the Joker seems to be speaking with a mild Irish accent, which would be an interesting turn.
No harm in that.
Interesting turn. But the other movie then I just wanted to say, I've finished talking about Twister, which again, recommended.
Thumbs up, yeah.
This is the 30th anniversary of Forrest Gump. Shockingly, guess who hasn't seen it? And
never seen Forrest Gump.
Never seen
tried
Forrest
to
Gump.
start a conversation with them, which I think is a really interesting conversation.
We did have a conversation. We had a good
conversation.
We had a good conversation.
If they remade Forrest Gump
today,
what would be the historical moments? You've seen Forrest Gump, haven't you?
Yeah, but now you say it's 30 years. It could be 27 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, but you know the premise. You know how they like superimpose him in. He meets JFK, he goes to different things, and they kind of put him into newsreels, like as in
what would be
that
the
he was
modern
attending.
newsreels?
What would be the?
Can it be serious or not serious?
That's what in Forrest Gump.
I think one of them would have been when at 9/11.
9/11 was
when Bush
first,
was whispered into his ear at that.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah,
that would have been an iconic moment. What else? Well, Trump getting shot, I suppose.
Well, now that is
now.
That's quite recent.
No, it was something I was thinking about. Like if you think, there was the 60s, and that movie is kind of based 60s, 70s, and into the early 80s.
I think there's so much stuff now that I think iconic moments were what news editors sort of selected for you back then and fed you. It's just
that's an interesting point.
Nowadays there's just so much of it.
Well, there's 24-hour news cycle, so everything is coming at you the whole time.
But that doesn't take away from the question that there still should be massive moments in time
of the last 30 years
that you could superimpose them on. Good one. I don't know.
It is a good question. Yeah.
I don't know. So it's 30 years. Time to rewatch. Perhaps is it a good film? It ages well, doesn't it? As I say, it's a long time since I watched it.
It's still there's just something really nice about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just nice.
Okay.
That's just what's about it.
Twisters, to me, I mean, obviously people can make the decision to do whatever they want, but judging by the trailer here, this requires a screen that
Big
fills
screen.
most of the wall
Big
that
screen.
you're looking at is a big screen.
Oh, I think
film.
it definitely
Big screen,
does.
yeah.
And don't be nervous about it. It does. Like, we went in and we were like, it says it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it turned out it was less than 2 hours. So
Yeah. The timing
just
on
under
it.
2 hours.
Yeah, and it was just the right length. It really was. Like, it's one of those things
Yeah.
where, as it was wrapping up, you were like, "Oh, that
Because we
flew
were
by."
kind of looking at our watches, going, "All right, this feels like
Half
it's
hour
wrapping
early.
up here, and
Half
what
hour
are we
earlier.
going to do with the last half hour?"
Yeah.
But it's
What's
actually a little bit shorter.
Colin Farrell's role in the new Joker? I probably will watch that one actually because I liked John Phoenix, whatever his name is.
Joaquin, yeah.
So
Joker.
obviously he doesn't
This
play
is-
the Joker.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Right, but
He played the Penguin though. I'm confused as well. I'm
It's
with.
the Penguin. I mean, then is it?
I'm confused.
He's in one that's coming out now.
is it
He's in it-
Folie à Deux, Joker 2?
Yeah, that's Joaquin Phoenix though. That's Joaquin
So
Phoenix,
she-
and Lady Gaga's in that one.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, we're on the
Well, then
same film.
maybe I
then.
made the Penguin. I don't
Yeah.
know. Oh yeah, I do mean the Penguin.
Yeah, the Penguin is the TV show, HBO.
So he's not in Joker 2?
It's Penguin, I think he's in.
No,
yeah,
it's the Penguin.
yeah.
Sorry,
He played
I
the Penguin in
apologise.
the Batman movie, and he was under prosthetics and he was unrecognizable.
And what's the name of the film?
It's a TV series, isn't it? It's a TV series. It's like on HBO Max.
Oh, I thought it was I just assumed it was a movie.
I think it's a TV series, yeah, with him as the character he played in The Batman, the new. I mean, I'm at that stage.
Oh wow, okay, I can see. We're looking at the trailer here. I can see he is unrecognizable,
Isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, they could have got someone much cheaper to do it then. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, why pay if you're gonna completely hide the person? Right, okay.
You're really
I'm
thinking
sure
like
we'll-
a movie executive.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure
You
we'll-
should be taking over Warner Brothers.
We'll review that down the
I
line.
wish
I'm
Greg
sure.
was at that meeting.
Yeah, I
in
wonder
HBO.
when is it
Can we
coming
not
to
just
Ireland?
get someone cheaper?
All right. Okay, we'll be back with more from Michael and Fanula. Keep your texts and comments coming to us 086 60 25,000. WhatsApp and text or call on 074 91 25,000.
Michael Henney's summer sale is here. Grab your favourite designer brands for a fraction of the price. We have a massive 50% off your favourite designer fashion, home, jewellery and beauty brands. Make your savings go further on sterling cash purchases with a €1.20 rate. Shop the sale rails this summer at Michael Henney's Ballabafay or online at michaelhenneys.com.
Michael Murphy Sports has you covered for all your training and matchday essentials. From GAA training jerseys to shorts, socks, mouthguards, gloves and top training equipment. Hone your skills with multi-sport goalposts or sharpen your aim with football and hurley rebounders at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Check out SuperValue's Real Rewards prices. Scan your card or app and get Persil, Ariel and Bold 38 to 60 wash selected range 2 for €18. And Pepsi and 7up 2 litre range 2 for €3. Plus, save even more with weekly vouchers on the Real Rewards app. Make real savings every week at SuperValue. DRS supplies.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
Attention golfers! McGurk's Golf in Letterkenny Retail Park has exciting news. State-of-the-art Quintic custom putter fitting is now available. Find the perfect putter for you. Book now online or by contacting the store directly. Or why not head into store and avail of the major value during the Open. McGurk's Golf Letterkenny, your go-to destination for all things golf.
Shock as straw scheme dropped by Minister. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Massive disruption to straw market expected as harvest kicks into gear. We analyse what's driving down beef carcass weights. Farmers win half of appeals against department decisions. Are lamb prices finally steadying? Vets up in arms over vaccine rule changes. Exclusive interview with European Commissioner on cap budget, nitrates and nature restoration. And all you need to know ahead of next week's Suckler and Sheep Open Day on Tullamore Farm.
All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time now is 22 minutes past 11. You're very welcome back to the programme. Right, okay, Party in the Park is upcoming. The Donegal Youth Service Party in the Park has been running for 20 years now. Can you imagine? It's a brilliant celebration of the musical creativity of young people that encapsulates the spirit of community youth empowerment and cultural diversity in the heart of Donegal. And we've got quite a team of guests in here now, some performers, some talkers. Laura Byrne, Elevate 55, Illuminate, youth worker with Donegal Youth Service. This is all written for young people, not me here. How are you getting on?
Thank you so much for having us this morning, Greg.
It's good to have you in. This is an annual event, 20 years, hard to believe, isn't it?
Yes, it's been running a long time now, and every year seems to get bigger and better.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so what's happening this year?
We have loads of acts booked in, all young people. We're looking at around 20 acts, live music running from 12 until 6. We have art workshops, we've got sport workshops, we've got face painting, and a new addition this year, we have a pop-up thrift shop, because our focus is on sustainability, and our summer camps this year, we've been looking at fast fashion and kind of things we can do to combat that. So that's a new addition we've got in for Party in the Park this year.
And also, we have in studio with us Morgan Mooney, who very sadly lost his incredibly talented son, Paul Mooney, a Ramelton musician who was in this studio on a number of occasions. He very sadly lost his life in a car crash just before Christmas. Morgan, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm sure you're still working through it on an hourly basis.
Oh, yes. Look, it's every parent's nightmare when the guard calls to the door. But we're working through it. We dust ourselves off and get going, keep ourselves lit.
Well done to you. And this is one of those situations where it's a whole bag of emotions for you, isn't it? In that
it is.
You're dealing with your grief, but your son is being remembered in a wonderful way, and with his connections to the people behind this and his involvement, Morgan.
Yes, and thank you for that. I'm here on behalf of his mammy Gwen and excuse me, his sisters Maeve and Julianne, and of course his partner Nicole. And particularly because in his formative years he was very shy and introverted, and he discovered the loft, and the change was remarkable. And one of the big things was the Party in the Park that he played at. The loft is non-academic focus, and there was listening skills, and it was a forum for him to play. So he had a couple of bands locally, but the Party in the Park was important for him. And it's just, instead of having flowers at his funeral, we come up with the idea that we would seek donations for the Elevate project, and we're very proud and delighted to be able to support this with those donations. And I want to thank everybody for that, which is why I'm here today.
And I hope you do, and aware that lots of us felt Paul's passing. And I know it's a very personal thing for you, but he was a young man that had a great impact on an awful lot of people, and we all kind of felt it. And there is a hole there for lots and lots of us. And so what I'm trying to say to you is that I know, but you're not on your own in your grief and your family.
Thank
that
you
we're all in the we all felt that as well, and we all felt the awful tragedy of it, Morgan.
We were overwhelmed with the support at the wake, the funeral, particularly young people. I mean, he was only 30.
Yeah.
But his peers were all broke because they're only starting out in their music careers. So we were astounded to get so much that we did get. It was
but that was
fantastic.
A testimony to the people he touched.
Totally.
And not, we don't all have that. And at some point maybe that will continue to bring you even more comfort. And isn't it lovely, Laura, to be able to, because you have to think of timing and what the family wants, and that it's the right thing at the right time, and clearly it is. Go on ahead, Morgan.
We'll be forever grateful to the Loft for the infectious personality that he came out with, even though he had his own way in life after that, and he studied music in Manchester. But we were very grateful and proud of the Loft, because that was his formative years. And
I'm not putting words in your mouth, but did it allow him to find himself?
He found a forum for his artistic talents, and once he had that, then it was also, he had a voice, and that people would listen to him, and he would listen to them, and it was just such an advantage and an asset to have to the town, But if I could just mention Orla O'Reilly.
Take your time, Morgan. There's no. I know you want to get that. Do you want me to come back to you, or do you want to stick with it?
I'm good.
Okay,
Thank
Morgan.
you.
That's all right.
was his mentor,
Yeah.
and she also died in a road traffic accident, and she kept him on, kept with him for till he kind of found his own feet.
Yeah.
And I also want to get John Muldowney, a Holler, and Frankie McGreevy, who are two very helpful people throughout his years.
Tough, Morgan, but you've done Paul proud, all right? And is it Gwen that you're here?
Gwen.
Well, you've done Gwen proud as well, okay. And
Maeve and Julianne and Nicole is his partner.
Nicole's his partner as well. Fair play. It's not easy. You did fantastic. Well done.
Thanks,
to
Ray.
Laura, I mean, can you get any better sort of... Sometimes when we talk about the youth services and what they do and how they help people and the importance of it, it can be hard to get that across. I've done many, many interviews in relation to this, but Morgan has done as good a job as I think all of us who tried to talk about the impact and the importance this has on young people's lives than all of the hours we've tried in the past, Morgan. So fair play to you for that. And that makes it even the more special, isn't it, that this stage is named after Paul and could be the platform for the next generation of people to find their voice, to find their space, and to move forward with their careers.
Exactly. Our project just aims to kind of foster that safe space to allow young people opportunities. We're not there doing it for them. We give them the opportunity, we give them the space, we give them the time. But this is youth-led. Like the festival this year, we've had a youth collective that have booked in all of our artists. They've done all of the artist liaison on the day they're going to be managing the stage themselves. They're going to be running the shops. They're going to be running everything. Like it really is youth-driven. Yes, we provide some of the resources and we provide the support, but this is for young people and to young people to take it and run with it. And as Morgan's testimony there was just saying that, it's a catalyst and you don't know, by coming into the Loft, it can be really nervous. Coming in and meeting people that you don't know for the first time, you don't know where that might take you. So many young people that we work with now, and they're anxious and they feel like they don't fit in maybe with a crowd at school, and then they come into us and they meet other young people, and it's affirming. It's affirming for them to meet other young people, and they're like, oh, like what I have got to say is important, and I am funny and I am cool, and those friendships form. And even like, St. Patrick's Day, we had a big family event, and what was incredible was there was lots of kind of like Paul's generation coming back in with their families, and
but also
just
too, we
building
have
those
this
friendships for life.
So much of our society is interlinked with booze, and to some extent as well, drugs nowadays. It's also nice that the St. Patrick's Day celebrations are an alternative to that. That this is a place that parents can take their children and know it's not associated with alcohol or drugs or anything like that there. Okay. But it still gets you get the buzz of a mini festival, of a live feel to it. When is it on?
It is on Friday, the 26th of July.
So it's next Friday.
12 until 6.
Excellent. I thought it was this Friday. Okay, that's great. Next Friday, 12 till 6, Letterkenny Town Park. Admission is free. And just to say, it's an alcohol and drug-free event. And I can't remember who I was speaking to, but I just thought, this is a great opportunity for... There's an awful lot of people going to concerts now, right? Or festivals and all that kind of stuff. And there's young people... 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 that can't go to those or necessarily they get a feel of that, and maybe it sparks their interest in the live music scene. I'm going to take a really short break because we have the Backroom Bandits with us as well, Corin and Ollie. They're from Derry, just 13 years of age. They're going to be performing not only for us now but also next Friday, and then we'll have another brief chat too with Laura and Morgan. Just to let you know, of course, what we're talking about is the Party in the Park. It's next Friday, and it is on between 12 noon and 6 in Letterkenny's Town Park. Back in a wee moment.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
I'm through with play.
The blockbuster production of Wicked returns to the Bordgash Energy Theatre Dublin. Winner of over 100 Golden Globes and 10 Tony Awards, ranked in the West End's top 10 longest running musicals of all time, and a show that has been seen by 65 million people worldwide. Join Highland Radio Friday 9th of August as we take part in the magic. Call us today at 07491 25000 or book your place through the outlet at highlandradio.com.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring's 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale ends Sunday.
Expecting a baby? Then a visit to Cool Kids Sligo's summer sale is a must, with up to 50% off selected prams, pushchairs, car seats, nursery furniture and high chairs. Cool Kids Sligo, your premier destination for baby equipment in the Northwest. We will take a deposit and deliver free nationwide. Shop online at babyaccessories.ie.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Halliford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor, with a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop, serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Halliford.
Evolve Clothing, biggest summer sale now on. Evolve Clothing, biggest summer sale now on. Evolve Clothing, biggest summer sale now on at Letterkenny Retail Park or evolveclothing.com.
And Sean's nipped into the bar for a quick chat with the work crowd. He won't stop. He has a match in the morning. But wait, a nod from the barman. There's Guinness 0-0 on tap. The chaps are back on. Sean is in full swing and a fresh pint is handed over the bar. Guinness 0-0, 100% Guinness, 0% alcohol. Proud partner of Croke Park Stadium and proud partner of the GAA.
Visit drinkaware.ie.
We have amazing mega value offers this week at your local Centra. Like Cadbury Snack Sandwich 6-pack, only €2. Super Quinn Sausages 6-pack, only €1. And Cava Jaum Sarah Brut Selected Wine Range, €10 each. Whatever the weather, Centra has you covered. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Okie doke. Right, the Backroom Bandits with us as well. Corin and Ollie. Corin, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Ollie, how are you getting on?
All good, how are you?
Good. Down from Derry. You performed together as the Backroom Bandits. What's the background, Ollie?
We met at school and we performed in a back room. Well, no, we met in a back room down in a music class. So that's why we're called the Backroom Band.
Brilliant stuff. You're performing next Friday.
Where?
Are you looking forward to it?
Very.
Is it your first big gig?
We done one on Over the West launch party.
Oh, fantastic,
so
right.
That was good, but I think this is going to be the first one where we're like up on a stage.
Big open up stage, and a stage some of the top acts in Ireland or even from outside Ireland have performed on, and a big crowd. Fantastic stuff. And what's your style of music, Corin? How would you describe your stuff?
It's mostly in Irish and rap.
Mm-hmm. So you're blending the Irish, the rap stroke hip hop. I know you're a bit older, but what do you think? And it's not in your genre, but that School Kids down in Cork that blew up, that was something else, wasn't it?
It was the first time I seen it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, unbelievable. All over the place, global.
Because we used the same backing track for a song. But
you did not, did you?
We never released it.
Oh no!
He bought the backing track. It.
Oh, and this is like the guy that was going to sign the Beatles and then thought, no, they're not any good enough.
He bought the backing track, but then
how much was it?
Forgot to delete it. I don't know. It was
like $5 or something.
5 or 7. 7 something.
That's terrible.
Still up for sure.
Come here, huh?
It was still up for sure.
Yeah, have you got the recording that you did?
I deleted it.
Oh, no, all right, okay.
It was no use.
Yeah, all right, fair play. I like your attitude, actually. You know what? Let's move on.
Couldn't be anything.
Right, I'm just going to play a little bit of this to get the volumes right because we couldn't do it off air. Is that all right?
That's all good.
Okay, right. That's just, I like that. Who like, did you make this beat yourselves? Is this?
I make the
Did you
beats.
really?
Aye.
Well done. Did he give you a $5 for it? All right, shall we listen? Now, this is 1:27. That's about the right length, isn't it? You're right. Okay. Right, this is Corin and Ollie. They are the Backroom Bandits, both from Derry, both just 13. And this is their track, not only the words, but also the backing track composed by Corin. But this is Corin and Ollie performing Mr. Magoo.
I don't know where they go. It is September, why is there snow? And all that snow, it's giving me the flu. I have a friend named Mr. Magoo. A dog from Galway named off. I keep the dog, I can't stress that enough. I keep the dog, keep it from the front. Keep the dog. Mr. Magoo, Mr. Magoo, Mr. Magoo, he hasn't got a clue, yeah, Mr. Magoo, Mr. Magoo, Mr. Magoo, he hasn't got a clue, yeah, he loves in Buncrana, up in a tree. Alright, said this at the start, I still have 2 feet. Okay. Might need to go back to Derry, might need to flee, but when I get up there might be a fee, yeah.
Well done, lads. That's good. I like it. I like it. Very good. Well done. Not easy, by the way, doing the backing track with the headphones on, sitting down in a radio station. But that's a sense of what you can enjoy. How big's your set next week, Ollie? How many tracks are you doing next week?
At least 3. It's 20 minutes long, so
all right.
we're doing at least 3.
Super. Well done. And are you excited about it? Are you excited, Corin? Yeah.
Aye.
All right. Good stuff. Well done. Everyone's going to be really proud. The family will be down as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, thanks very much. Enjoyed that. Laura, last word to you,
Thank
I suppose. You can whip that back over to you. Fair play to you.
Thank you.
All right, that's brilliant. What a platform, isn't it?
What a platform.
And I'll bring you in on that, Morgan, as well. Isn't it lovely that these young lads can, and I think it's really impressive, by the way, that they're putting the music together themselves, but can get up on the stage and perform and entertain.
Yes.
And
yes, you hit the nail on the head just before the break. Like, I mean, when you see that we're paying hundreds, probably thousands, going to the likes of, big concerts. Probably can't name them, but we have it all locally and it's free. Yeah. So maybe they're the next generation. Just remember where they came from, when they're famous.
Yeah.
But if I could just take this brief opportunity to thank everybody who donated to this project, and we're very grateful eternally.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. And we're very grateful, Morgan. It's actually been an honour having you and to have from his own dad, Paul, remembered too. So we're very proud of that. So thank you so very much indeed. Laura Byrne, it's free to... go ahead.
Could I just ask people to slow down on the roads?
Yeah, I get you. And unfortunately, it's every day we're having to deal with more bad news. Okay, Morgan, thank you. Very well done. As I say, you did Gwen and the rest of the crew very proud. And Paul particularly looking down on you. Laura Byrne, well done to what you all do.
Thank you.
And next Friday, the place to be, 12 noon.
Rain or shine, Greg. Well, do you know, if
see, we're going so
we
well.
need to come prepared. No, we need to come prepared. If you're going to a festival, if you're going to Glastonbury, you turn up with your wellies, you turn up with your raincoat.
Exactly.
Do the same on Friday, please.
All
Be
right,
prepared,
well
rain or shine.
Okay, hopefully the weather's good. It's free alcohol and drug event. And do you know what? It's the end of the week. You maybe have the young ones at home and you're wondering, what are we going to do today? How much is it going to cost? Well, you've got 6 hours entertainment there and it'll cost you nada. Okay, well done, the Backstreet Bandits, Corin and Ollie. Well done. You did brilliant there, by the way. Morgan Mooney, very grateful to you. And
Thank
Laura
you, Greg.
Byrne, Elevate 55, Illuminate, youth worker with the Donegal Youth Council. That means you were started off in the Youth Council, doesn't it?
No, part of the youth service.
What is Illuminate? That's just the name
Illuminate's just the name of one of the projects, and Elevate 55 is our project as well.
You see, there's some guests come on our programme and they're Illuminates.
That's not us.
I don't know what that is.
Do
you know what it is?
Not with us, no. Illuminate was just the name of one of the projects where we were working out into schools
What is it when you used to win a college? Fanula's going to put me straight anyway. Maybe it's not Illuminati. Maybe that's a religion. Is it? I don't know. Oh my God. I'm getting out of this hole before I dig any deeper. I'll try and explain it all after the break and everything will be fine. Right, Laura, Morgan, boys, thank you so very much indeed.
Thank you.
Virgin Media is rolling out 2 gig full fibre broadband to more and more homes across Ireland. Big homes, little homes, haunted houses, big gaffs in the country, non-bouncy castles. Number 16, Oxbow Lake Houses. The house with all the cats. To get Ireland's best broadband, check your address at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media, it's playtime.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to availability. Ireland's best broadband. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
Cooney's Home Interiors huge summer sale is now on, with discounts across all departments, with up to half price on many floor clearance items, plus huge savings on sofas, dining, beds, mattresses and occasional furniture. Treat yourself and save a fortune at Cooney's Home Interiors huge summer sale, open 7 days a week at Letterkenny Retail Park. Offers only while stocks last.
New store Call of the Wild is now open on Main Street, Letterkenny, with top quality outdoor clothing, footwear and equipment. Also the best advice and great service. Top names include Berghaus, Yeti, Gore-Tex and Orca. Also, Rip Curl, Camping Gas, Hoka, and many more. Get the best gear, whatever your lifestyle, at Call of the Wild in Letterkenny. See callofthewild.ie.
Well, wait till you hear why thousands of families are going full Lidl.
Him has every fruit.
Every fruit. He has blueberries every morning. He loves them.
I would have a dream in an apple pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
A
that's
pool full of apples.
Yeah.
Go full Lidl today.
Agricultural show entries are now being taken for the Clonmany Agricultural Show. Competitions in sheep, cattle, pony and horse, poultry, home industry, adult and children's sections, sheep shearing and show jumping sections, and sheepdog trials. Entries close 22nd of July. You can enter online at clonmanyshow.com or by entry form to the secretary. Or contact clonmanyagrishow@gmail.com. We are a 2-day show this year, 6th and 7th of August, packed full of events for everyone.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhenney's. Support a local Donegal business with McElhenney's. From fashion to home essentials, find everything you need for any occasion. Shop McElhenney's Ballybuffet for quality you can trust.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. A texter says, the Mooney family are a wonderful family. Paul was a quiet young man dedicated to music, just like his dad. What a special way to remember him. Hear, hear. And as it says, I don't want to patronise Morgan, but he did. It's a tough, very tough interview, and he did absolutely fantastic there. And everyone, including Paul, will be very proud. Okay, and Michael and Fiona are back with us again. How are you getting on, guys?
Good. Very good.
What did you do since I was chatting to you?
Got tea.
Yay.
That's a nice tea.
We'll do one more in the cinema because there's a lot of people looking for stuff to do. Date nights, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Fly Me to the Moon.
Yes.
Hard not to sing that one.
I
Scarlett
know.
Johansson.
Go for it.
Shout, Fly me to the moon. Let
in your
me.
area, isn't it? You always
No,
like him.
Not really. It's all right. Yeah, okay. Scarlett Johansson, yummy. Channing Tatum.
I'm kind of getting into him now, I have to say.
I think he's good fun.
He's been,
Yeah.
you know
Good
the way
fun, yeah.
he's in. If anybody hasn't seen it, The Lost City with Sandra
Yeah,
Bullock.
loved that. That was actually panned by reviewers, and it was a good fun film.
Oh my God, I thought it was
Yeah.
great. And actually, I sat down and watched it with my nephew, who's 12, niece 11, and the youngest one is 6.
Does
7.
he not get
She can
leeches
be.
somewhere on him? Is that the one where he gets
Yes.
leeches? Okay,
Yes.
how did that go down?
Oh, which sure was hilarious. They just thought it was so fun.
It was funny.
And I was like, that was the thing. I was like, and then
Thought he was funny, and I think it was in Baywatch with The Rock as well.
Yes.
That again was kind of slammed by the critics, but I thought it was fine.
Really?
Yeah, I actually.
I think he's okay, but there is a review. I thought of you, Fionnuala, because we had this discussion last night. So I found the Times review of Fly Me to the Moon, and this is the quote, direct quote from the.
That's the best.
It's Johansson fires ace after ace. Tatum stands there like a tree, watching them sail past him.
Do you know part
That
of me
is horrendous. I
know.
part of me starting to feel that reviewers are just actually cruel.
Some
and
are,
Is
some
there
are.
any real place
Some
for
are.
them?
I
prefer
don't-
audience stuff. I
Some.
really,
The audience, the audience
I
loves this
guarantee
movie.
you that's probably some old fella who the
fairness,
film's not even designed for.
And the thing about Channing Tatum is, a lot of the times, that's what his role requires, is that he is kind of the straight
Yes.
man. You know, the way, like, what I actually liked about this was I wasn't 100% sure. Sorry, let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
So, Fly Me to the Moon is basically, it's about where the kind of space race kind of an idea,
Mhm.
and it's sort of a romantic kind of a twist on it.
Yeah, it's a rom-com-y
Yeah.
type thing set in
But
the 60s, yeah.
Set in the 60s, and it's all about, the space race. And Channing Tatum plays the guy who is the head
Engineer. Yeah.
that is running the space station. Now, first of all, I was like, I'm never going to believe Channing Tatum, because in fairness to him, as a human being, he probably is very smart. But in his characters that he plays, he tends to play the not very smart one.
In
That
the
is-
Sandra Bullock film, he played it from start to finish, taking the complete hand out of himself that he didn't have two brain cells.
Yes.
100%. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I don't know. When you read it, and I was kind of like, oh, would I believe Channing Tatum as being somebody that could be running the NASA space station? And I actually did. You 100%
Yeah, you
could.
did. He was very good.
He does have a presence. He does have that kind of like in charge feeling about it. And I was like, I thought that was amazing. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, he's totally flipped me on that. So, that he didn't play the just the fool. You know
Yeah,
what I
he
mean?
did
Kind
not
of
play the
plays
fool.
that sort of a character.
And he came
that-
into this production late in the day. He wasn't originally on board with this film, and when you take even that into account, I thought he did a great job. I
Is
really
this
did.
a cinema release or an Apple TV release?
It's a mixture. It's in the cinema and it's still in the cinema, but it is an Apple thing, which means it'll very quickly appear on their platform. You know, that's the way it works.
It's actually amazing. It shows how much interest there is in it. I think that it is still in the cinema.
Yeah.
Because
It's getting
some of them
traction.
just go straight.
Because
to-
I would say he puts bombs on seats.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of not
So
really
does she.
interested in what critics
Scarlett-
say.
Scarlett Johansson, yeah.
I think though
Critics,
he might motivate
critics
people
are giving
more.
this 66, but the audience review on Rotten Tomatoes is
There you go, you
91%.
see, that's
Yeah,
it.
and
big. And I'm not surprised. It's a fun movie.
It really is, and basically what it is it's that he's running the NASA space station, he's running the NASA.
He's engineer. He's the engineer guy. He's the
engineer where they're
they
kind of
build
coming
everything.
up with why can't we get this thing into space?
Yeah.
And then
And it's
at
all
the
about
time
cutting
then-
down the weight and getting the thing up, and it's all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And it's at the time when there was, this is like untrue, that there was a lot of talk in America at certain periods, particularly after the Russians had kind of gotten into space, whether or not it was worth kind of still putting money at it and just kind of letting it go. And then there was a group that was, it kind of became the space, I was going to say, kind of became the space race. Obviously,
Really?
it was the space
Really?
race.
It was like the space
It
race.
was like the
Wow.
space race.
Wow.
And then, so what they had then was a publicity issue.
Yeah.
So it was like a perception of the people that this was costing so much money and what were we getting out of it. And so Scarlett Johansson is a PR, very much kind of a Mad Men type of an idea. that
Morally bankrupt ad executive character. which
very
is,
in the
yeah.
kind of Mad Men sort of
Thank God we don't have any of them here.
I
No, I said thank God.
Oh, I know you
anything
did.
for a buck.
I was laughing at a joke I heard earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's brought into it then in order to
By Woody
Did
Harrelson.
he also do a backup shoot in case things don't go right? Is that part
Yes,
of it?
that's a big part of it. Big part of it, yeah.
Is whether or not if they can't get there, they can't allow the American people to see that they
failure.
that they failed.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so there's a lot of
And it's
different
worth
kind of-
mentioning that Woody Harrelson is the guy who reached out to her, and he's a really shady government guy, and he's brilliant.
But the more
Really
you,
shady guy, he's the
like,
guy.
When you see what they supposedly have done, I'm not a denier of it, right? And you see the literal of the images. It's like gaffer tape holding this thing together, and then you see the Chinese now can't even land a truck on its wheels on the moon, and you think what they did back then. It's almost unbelievable.
no,
And I'm not saying it didn't happen, but my word, to pull that off.
It's an amazing feat, yeah. Amazing feat. It was an amazing engineering feat, yeah.
Something they actually really haven't been able to do since.
Yeah.
Properly.
I don't disagree with you. Like there was a lot of things, and some things do come up in this movie, and you're kind of like, oh.
But
and
a
if
part of that
anybody's
is
ever watched Hidden
there's an
Figures as well.
excellent Apple series called For All Mankind that I love, and I did a bit of a deep dive into the research of researching that show, and a lot of the things that happened at NASA was the funding. The space shuttle took all their funding. That put an end to
I'm
the
on
moon
about
shots.
actually being able to do it.
Oh yeah, but you need funding to do it. Yeah, I agree with you. I know what you mean.
The Indian nation, the Chinese nation, have just tried to land a bloody rover on it. Not men, not ladders, not flags, and haven't been able to
do
off.
it. Yeah.
Yet they did it with computer
More
power
basic,
and less than your
more
mobile
basic,
phone.
more basic
and
communication.
seemed to be some gaffer tape involved. I don't know, and took off again and come back.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
No, it
As I
is
say, I'm not doubting it for a second. Hold your horses, because do a quick wrap up on that one after I speak to Declan Boyle, organiser of the Tour of Inniskeel. Sounds like a Colin Farrell movie. It's a Honda run this Sunday. Declan, good morning to you.
Good morning. How's things, Greg?
Good. Right, 50s, 70s, 90s, and all bikes welcome for this event. Tell us what's happening, where it starts, and how people can get involved.
We're starting from the comprehensive school here in Glenties or whatever. There's a 75-kilometre route run or whatever. Pretty much we're kicking off there at 1 o'clock or whatever, and going round Binyahard and bits and pieces like that. There's plenty of scenic bits on the route and all, so look, it'll be good enough, hopefully. So hopefully the weather gets on our side.
Yep, so as I say, all Honda 50s, 70s, 90s, all bikes welcome, as I've just said, but no quads and no helmet, no run. You want it all to be above board and safe. So go along, have fun, bring your bike, but you need your helmet and you need to be obviously legal on the road.
Yes, and there's a €20 registration fee, and then it's in aid of the Glenties Harvest Fair Festival. So we're hoping for a good turnout now, in fairness, so we'll see how we get on.
Refreshments after in Roddy's Bar with live music. So it's a great day to get the get the yoke out onto the road and meet up with like-minded folk and compare and have fun. Yeah,
it should be a bit of crack. This is our second year running it, and it was a good success last year.
Great.
So we're hoping to better it again this year, so we'll see.
Love it.
We'll see what Sunday brings.
I'd love a Honda 50. All right, Declan, thanks very much for that. That's Declan Boyle, organiser of the Tour of Inniskill Honda Run. It's this Saturday. It kicks off at Glenties Comprehensive School car park. Registration from noon. The run starts at 1. Bring your 50, your 70, your 90 or whatever bike you might have. You have to have a helmet with you and no quads. And there's a bit of fun and refreshments afterwards in Roddy's Bar, followed by live music. And it's to raise money for the Glenties Harvest Fair Festival. You were at it last year maybe. So go ahead again and enjoy it. Hi, Greg and Co. That usually give it welly on what's on the telly. I hope Fionnuala gets tickets to this, as Galway and Donegal put it, a thrilling performance just in time for Galway Film Festival. Maybe make a movie out of it, Escape to Galway. So from the Donegal Hills to Beverly Hills, only difference is the sun. Axel F. should stand for funny, back to his usual self. Although coming to America too should have been stopped at customs. By the way, on a recent discussion with Donald, the railway man, was on BBC 4 last night with Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie with stunning scenery as it was in both Glencolmkill and Gorta Hawk as mentioned in the credits. Funny enough, there were shows on railway walks after it too. Enjoy Twisters, but let's hope the weather for the weekend stays the same. Kevin in Dunlow, thank you, always well thought out. So finally, Fly Me to the Moon. What are you giving it out of 10?
Oh, I give it a good 8.5. I loved it. Loved
Okay,
it. Loved it.
Yeah, no, I'd be up around the same as well. I thought it was very enjoyable. You kind of walk in, it for what it is and in the genre that it is. Don't be going thinking that it's going to be anything outrageous, but you know, it's got the few laughs. It kind of has a little rom-commy bit going on, that type of thing.
They have great chemistry as well.
Yeah, they
have really great
do,
chemistry. Yeah,
they
work.
do have great chemistry.
You like them and you want them to get together, and you're like, I wonder, will they get together? How is it going to go? It's just fun, and and it flies by as well.
Yeah, McDonald and Dodds on ITV. What's that about?
This is the 4th season, and it's back this Sunday. I love this show. It's a Sunday night murder mystery show. They've had a 2-year break. There was none last year, so you get 3 episodes over the next 3 weeks. Sunday night, 2 hours. She's the young hotshot detective up from London. She's partnered with this old codger guy. And of course, it turns out that he's actually a really good detective. Nobody respected him until she showed up. I love this show. It's light, it's fun. The crimes are really complex, and as I've said on air before, if you pull a thread at all as the closing credits, it all falls apart. So don't think about it too much. They have great guest stars, great fun. They always pull these elaborate twists. You never know who the murderer is. It's one of my favourite shows.
You really like it too, Fionnuala?
Yeah, no, it's really good. And I'm watching that. I can't wait for it to start on Sunday. And also season 25, which is unbelievable, of Midsummer Murders.
Wow.
Is up and running.
Think will it last?
It's amazing. It's still good.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really good.
Dawn loves that. Dawn loves that.
They must be raking over old coals at this stage.
No, it's amazing. They really managed to keep it... to keep it fresh. Now there's a lot of complaints about
and it's all in one
there's
village.
A lot of diversity and that kind of stuff, but they were kind of.
It's amazing that there's someone alive still in that little village because it's all one place, isn't it?
No. It's a region. It's a region. It's a lot of little villages.
And what's the tourism like? How did they get people to move to that area?
Yes.
They're like,
well, if
you feel like bumping someone off, you move there.
They don't like the DFS.
What they need is Jessica Fletcher to do a book tour and show up in that region.
There's one more episode of Presumed Innocent on Apple TV that's coming out next Wednesday. Watch it; it's good.
Yeah,
good show.
Is it worth it?
Oh, 100%.
And I see that it's been
entertaining. Yeah.
It's confirmed to get another season. They're going to move on to another case.
Right.
They're going to keep going with this. Yeah, it's a hit. It's a hit for them. I think it's a massive hit for them, if I remember rightly.
Well, it's got a top movie cast. But it's in a series, it's a long story, and it moves along, and it leaves you. It's got an old hook at the end of each episode, which is nice. You don't see that as much as you used to.
Yeah,
a revelation at the end of an episode that you go, I have to see what's happening next.
Yeah, that's a nod to proper episodic TV. This thing of being, a chapter. A lot of these long form shows are just a chapter in a movie, and you're right, they don't have that huge hook. So that's good to hear.
All right, brilliant stuff. Okay, listen, it's been wonderful, fantastic as always. Thanks for sharing your time with our wonderful guests as well, and to help promote events that we have around our beautiful region. Michael Leddy, writer and blogger, we'll chat to you next Friday.
Great fun.
All being
Thank you.
well.
Thank
Fanula
you.
Rabbit, also thank you very much indeed.
you.
Really appreciate it. Okay.
Enjoy the weekend.
That's where we have to leave it on the show today. John Bresson's out and about. We'll tell you more about that after 12. He's around the Northwest with the usual mix of music and conversation and funny bits and what have you. We're back with you all being well on Monday. From me, Greg Hughes, Caroline Orr, who researched and produced the show, and of course Sharon Wilkins, working hard on the show as well. From all of us, have a fantastic